Does this work?
Oh, yes.
Fuck it. We're doing it live.
Neat! And now let's find out how much I can make Discord hate me. By grabbing the thing. Time to destroy my internet. Okay, so I am excited. It's the one day out of the year that I actually play video games on stream again anymore. Where I'm gonna play Spyro on stream, and I'm gonna... Yeah, sure, we'll overwrite this one. I'm here with two other people. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves, by the way?
I'll go first because I'm not the one who pushed the talk on. Hello, everybody. My name is GunLaser42.
Nice username. Sorry. Drake?
Yeah, everyone knows me as either Drake or Caddick.
That's how you pronounce that.
Yeah, it's funny enough, it's actually the horse that Aragon rode in the first book before he was given Brahm's horse.
I hate that I can't skip this cutscene.
And it was also the name of the very first dragon rider in their whole world.
I think I remember that, actually. I haven't read The Inheritance Cycle in a very long time. I'm skipping all of the cutscenes because I've seen them all before. And this is a thing
That's
where...
fair.
Yeah, I do this every year for anyone who comes across this and has no idea what it is. Where I just kind of sit in a voice channel and, I stream Spyro on my birthday, and I talk about the year, and when I used to stream more regularly, it was a way to talk about my plans for the year. Now it's going to just be me rambling about everything that's happened, and grabbing some friends so that we can all make fools of ourselves together.
Yay, full friendship.
So, everyone calls the other guy GB, so that's who we're referring to. And I've known Drake as Drake for a while, and hopefully Sue will make an appearance and bless everyone with his extremely good sense of humor that definitely isn't edgy or anything. Let's just get this out of the way first. It's been so long since I streamed, I actually forgot how to do it. There's like a rhythm to it. I stopped doing it. The last time I actually streamed was back in February or March of last year. When, after the birthday stream, I'm like, I have big plans. I'm gonna play, oh, right. Actually, where's OBS? So I can keep track of chat. There we go. I was gonna play Fantasy Life on stream because I could finally get the emulator to do it after many years of wanting exactly that feature. And then I just kind of crashed out and didn't. And then I got really involved in running Animon Story with a specific group. And then all of my energy, all of my social energy went to running games for the rest of that year. That's where I went. I didn't, like, stop doing things or anything. It's just that I ended up falling down the rabbit hole of becoming a dedicated GM.
And I was attempting to be one of your members.
Yep, Drake was going to be the Animon member. I met him in a furry community. And then my Animon group was together for a couple of months, where things were mostly okay. We kind of had a hiccup after the first arc where stuff started to fall apart. My shortcomings as a GM were showing, and the incompatibility at my table was definitely starting to show through. So I joined a Sonic Discord, looking for a way to play a different system, so that I could have an easier system to run for my group, while we figure out what to do with Animon Story.
In all honesty, if you don't mind me chiming in here, I think a bit of the problem with I think it was more on the incompatibility of players than it was on shortcomings of you as a GM.
You remember what happened when I had Session 0, because you were there for that? That was so exhausting that I should have probably just nipped it in the bud a lot sooner than I did. And I have learned from that mistake in a powerful way, because I have a similar situation with the poker roll game I'm organizing, where one person who wants to play doesn't get along with another person, and I'm like, I'm not doing this twice. I like both of you. I don't want either of you together. And anyway, after that, I'm like, I want to run something short and simple. I grabbed some of the PBTA systems I've been wanting to run. It was up in the air between a Pillion and Rings and Running Shoes. A Pillion is where you play as dragons, and Rings and Running Shoes is a Sonic system. And I'm like, I'll just, like, try RNRS, because I played enough Sonic to know lore about it, and a Pillion is kind of an ask, and I know that RNRS has a Discord because I was in it before. I'll just join there and ask how to run it, and then we'll figure out what to do with Animon later. And that ended up being quite a rabbit hole of its own, because I ended up getting along with the community so well that now I do more things in that server than any other. And then my Animon group fell apart shortly after, so that happened. Anyway, I met GB on the Sonic server. He's the other GM. I say the other GM now, which is weird. He was the only GM when I joined. Uh-oh.
Oh. That was Drake.
Oh dear.
Well, he's an ice cube now.
Oh no.
So anyway, keep going.
Right. Sorry, I was checking messages to see if he said where he went. Yeah, like, so it's weird because, like, I actually did join initially to learn to run a system that I really like, that I like the looks of, but I can't learn anything unless people show me. I've got that kind of autism. So, hey Drake. I assume it's Drake.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. Our internet went down for a couple moments.
That's okay. We didn't really get that far. But what I was saying was, it's funny because, like, after when our Animon group started to have problems, I realized that I've been in the Sonic server for a bit, and I'm like, I wonder if anyone in here has any insight about that. Like, there's a few people who GM in here, and most of them are older, so I start talking in adult general. And then GB messages me one night, he's like, you know, if you want to talk about that stuff with me, we'll just talk about it. And, like, I think that was after my tutorial game?
Yep.
Yeah, it was after my tutorial game. After I had demonstrated to people that I am the worst player to have, because I will break your boss encounter very easily with bullshit and roleplay.
I mean, look at the role playing that we did just for my first episode.
Oh, no, it's great because everyone loves me as a player, and I'm like, why? But no, jokes aside.
I'll be back again.
Huh?
He's stepping away.
Okay. Yep, so it was, I think that's the night that I sent you the entirety, the entire saga of what had become that game. It took 8 hours to write all of that, in between which I also had to get up and, like, make some food, I think. We were making a big dinner, and I don't remember what it was for. Oh, no, we were baking something for someone. Anyway, I remember that because I had to stop and take breaks while writing it. It took me 8 hours to write all of that out. And the thing that I remember about it the most is that after you read all of it, you summarized it in 2 sentences. The first is, wow, you're really anxious, aren't you? And the second is, you're kind of a doormat.
Yeah.
So, it's like, yeah, I am. And I never want to make other people unhappy. And I want people to get along. And I think I can be the bridge. And it turns out that sometimes other people are just impossible to deal with. And I think the thing that I've learned from that experience is that not only are some people just impossible to get along, but some people are just problems on their own. And I refuse to accept when those people can't be helped if I like them, and especially if I think I owe them something, the way I did with one of my players, who did actually help me and stick with me during a dark time. But because I had that association with them, I just kind of let them get by with shit they shouldn't have. And then, after that, we went over some stuff about how to deal with a situation. I'm missing one fucking gem, of course I am. Watch it be somewhere stupid. Did everybody leave? Or
No,
just
it's
Drake?
still just Drake.
Neat.
He was going anyway, so.
Fair enough. Oh, I forgot to murder someone brutally. Cool. Yeah, like, the funny thing is that, like, I actually took the advice you gave me of, like, walk back on the session you had, talk to your players about it. And we talked about it. Admittedly, most of my players are fine. One of them is in here, like, in this server. Like, she's fine, she's a longtime friend of mine. She would play in another game if I ran it, if she had the energy to join another game. Right now, her life is a bit full up, and she's also a GM on Saturdays. So when she was telling me, hey, maybe you shouldn't put up with people that, like, make you uncomfortable and also ruin your game for you, I probably should have listened to her the first time. But, like, I talked to my group about it, and everyone kind of agreed with what I wanted to do. There was no real discussion about it, except for the two people who were problems. Because they didn't really think it was fair to, like, completely erase stuff just because I was struggling with it. But I admitted that part of the problem was me. I wasn't very good at writing puzzles at the time, and I didn't really understand how to move solutions around. I was trying... I realized what I was trying to do literally just today from that thing in mechanics discussion, where we're talking about the difference in narrative and simulation systems. I was trying to tell a story. I assumed that people would go off of things based on tropes that are in TV shows, where kids do things. I never expected somebody to, like, sit in their car, because that's just not what you do. That's not where the adventure is, and it's also just not something anyone on TV does either. Like, even in shows that are more adult geared, if someone's got nothing to do, they'll get out of their car and they'll wander around, and looks like that's how they found the inciting incident. But it's like, nobody did that, and I was like, and the guy's like, well, it's because that's not what he would do as a character. And I got really frustrated with this. And I think, at the time, I thought, well, it's because I'm not a good GM who's not accounting for realism. Now, it's because I didn't have players who wanted to play a narrative system, and I ran Animon's story like a narrative game. So that's pretty much where that's ended now.
Yeah, basically.
And the group just kind of dissolved. I tried talking one last time about the problems I was having to one of the players. He wanted to go off on some tangent about French warfare or whatever. I couldn't get a word in edgewise because he was doing the autistic hyperfocus thing, and I was really tired and depressed, so getting a word in edgewise took 10 times more effort. You know what it's like when we're in calls and Red starts talking about politics and nobody can talk over him until he's fucking done?
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine that, but, like, also, you just had to run a mile. That's how I felt.
Mm.
And also, like, I like Red as a person, by the way. Like, that's not too much of a dig, because he knows what he's like. Because the other day when he's in call and KK is talking a lot, he's like, wow, this must be what it feels like to be interrupted. So he's a little aware of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, after that happened, and one of the problem players told me they were only really friends with me for this long because they felt sorry for me, and they left. Our group dissolved. I put the game on hold, figured I'll just bring it back when Drake is actually able to play again, and then we'll go from there. What ended up happening was accidentally getting more involved in a server I only expected to be in for a few weeks max, accidentally making more friends in there, accidentally finding groups of people I want to play games with a considerable amount more, and also accidentally contributing way more to a community than I ever felt like I would, or that I have in years, and finding somewhere to belong. So that's where I've been since, like, August, even though I was a bit of a nervous wreck when I joined. Just slightly. There was only a slight amount of anxiety. I'm sure that nobody noticed it.
No, people noticed.
I don't know. I think I was pretty subtle about it.
I mean, people noticed, it didn't say anything to you.
Look, I'm doing my best. It probably wasn't that noticeable. I'm pretty sure I think only you and Val noticed.
The KK noticed too.
Yeah. I should actually check the thing. There we go. Keep my windows organized. I'm gonna spend forever on this level because this level sucks and I always lose gems in it. It's like the one level I hate because of it. Like, this level exists to showcase tech. It's not actually a good level. Dark Hollow
I mentioned that.
Dark Hollow is a good level, because Dark Hollow is a good first impression of how the game's mechanics work and how to structure the game for what you're going to be doing. Going off on different branching paths to find all the items, sometimes requiring you to backtrack a bit. It does this very well with the key in the chest.
Right.
And I really like that about Dark Hollow. I think Dark Hollow it's also very small, so it feels very compact, and that it accomplishes its goal of teaching you how the game is in that short amount of time is great. Stone Hill exists to showcase that the PlayStation can load this much geometry at once. Yeah. That was a technical marvel. And Stone Hill is front-ended before Dark Hollow because because Sony is the Apple of console developers, where they care more about the showmanship of their technology than they do about making good games. And they've always been that way, which is really unfortunate because it means that every time a good game exists on PlayStation, it's had to exist adjacent to Sony wanting to be like the fucking big dick energy with their technology. I am missing a single gem.
Right.
I hate it so goddamn much here. To run around for about 10 minutes and try to find it again. Oh, there they are. Never mind, it's 2 gems. Good. Fuck this entire stage. So, do you have anything to chime in on that stuff?
Not really.
That's fair.
You basically nailed it all down.
I think so. I've had a lot of time to think about it. Well, I didn't think about it much. That's why I came out in a nervous spiel. I think I'm still nervous, to be honest.
A bit, yeah.
Does it really show that much anymore? I'm doing everything massively out of order.
It still shows, but I think it's just because people know what you are, quote unquote, normally. So when you do get the nervous, it kind of spikes a bit.
Normally, I thought my baseline was a little nervous.
Yeah. It still spikes though.
It definitely can. And I suppose that's, always going to be a thing. I'm not really sure why. I guess some people are just like that. There's some people who have infinite chill the way you do, and then there's people who are like me, where our positive is that we're a bit more hyperactive. Like, Night Owl said I rile people up. Well, I might have said that about myself because someone told me that about myself on stream, and Night Owl's like, I think I agree with that. He's like, I think you psych people up to be excited about something. Like, you put energy in. And he's like, some people are like that, and that's true, I think. I got the DualShock 5 working on my computer before starting game. And after figuring out why the hell Windows registers it as a sound device, which is weird, I figured out that it also actually has working motors. So playing this with working vibration is kind of weird after emulating it for so long. But hey,
correctly, I don't think the PlayStation drivers came natively with Windows.
Well, I was using an 8-bit do before, like an Xbox controller. And I got tired of its D-pad. So I'm like, I'm going to have to use the D-pad a lot, because I'm using the D-pad to play right now, because the analog controls are pretty clunky on the first Spyro. It's like one of those things where when people ask me about the benefits to Reignited, one of them is the working analog controls. Because the first Spyro existed in a time when the PlayStation didn't always ship with a DualShock. It actually had... It still had those like old controllers, you know, like the ones that don't have the joysticks on them.
Yeah.
And so it was made mostly to account for that, and so all of the calibrations that were done with the way it moves were done with the assumption that people wouldn't have access to analog sticks. And I think that's fine, actually. Like, if you understand the context, it makes a lot of sense. I still think that it would frustrate the hell out of certain kinds of people. So it's like if people are like, does the remake do anything gameplay-wise? I should at least mention that one thing it does is that modernizing the controls means it makes assumptions for what modern gamers have access to. Whereas this game is a bit locked in the era that it came out in. The way 2 and 3 actually aren't, because 2 released in 1999, I think, and 3 released in 2001 or 2? Well, maybe, I think 2 was 2000. It might have been 2000, and then 3 was 2002. And by then, everyone kind of had an analog stick. So the games were actually changed, and the controls were tightened up for 2 and 3. I would actually say that depending on what kind of gamer you are, is how I would recommend playing the old Spyro games. Because the first one is definitely for people who are actually way more about the movement mechanics of a character. I literally just came this way. I meant to go the other way. And the second and third one are more about people who are more used to how traditional platformers work and want something that's more, I don't want to say like arcadey, but something that definitely feels like the world matters a bit more. How you explore it, the activities you do in it. This game is purely for those like nerds that care about movement in Mario 64. 2 and 3 are more like, do you like Banjo-Kazooie?
Right.
Having said that, they're all kind of old, but the first one is definitely the oldest feeling. That's really unfortunate, too. And it doesn't bother me, and it doesn't bother a lot of people in my circles, because people in my circles tend to be people who play indie games. So indie games are unconventional as fuck sometimes, because they're made by a lot of older people who remember what games used to be, and they're paid by people who come from all across the spectrum of games. But, like, also, they are often played by people who are willing to explore a different way of making and playing games than just, like, the gentrified, modernized, like, excessively optimal way that games are made today.
Right.
Which is my issue with AAA games. They all feel the same after a while. That guy's line is, I had the worst itch on the tip of my wing, and it's meant to be a joke, but my head goes to degenerate places.
That's fair.
Oh, that piece of shit up there. I wonder if I can just deal with him real quick. You know, when I was a kid, I tried to see if these bulls had an asshole. Honestly, out of curiosity. I was curious if they did. I'm actually kind of curious. Like, what was the first PlayStation game you ever played?
It was, well, I mean, completely, it was a demo disc.
Oh, same as me. Which one?
Let me see if I can remember. I think it was a demo disc with, I might be confusing one or two demo discs, it's been a long time. It was a demo disc with, Einhander, Blasto, Small Soldiers, and at least a gameplay video for Resident Evil 2 DualShock Edition. I forget what else it had. The first actual like game I had for it was, I forget. I eventually did get Spyro, but it wasn't Spyro that was my first game.
That's fair. I was actually just curious. It reminds me of that one time while streaming Tomba, someone in my chat, I think, brought up Einhander, and I found out about it because of that person. It was a horizontal shooter, right? Or am I thinking of something else?
That was a horizontal shooter whose main gimmick was that depending on how you killed enemies, they would drop their weapons and you could pick them up to use them yourself.
Oh, neat.
And each weapon had a different mode depending on if you were shooting from the bottom of your ship or shooting from the top, because you could swap them around.
Why is the game called One-Handed in German?
Because they wanted to be fancy.
Fair enough.
Because oh yeah, they call it Einhander because the ship it does its weaponry by using its quote unquote hand. It's one hand to grab stuff to use them.
That is completely fair.
It's also the story is also very kind of based on Greek mythology, so you know, combination of stuff.
It's a Japanese game, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep. There it is.
It was made by good old Square before they became Soft.
Huh. That's a Square game. That's a weird one to learn. You know what? I hate missing gems. How am I missing gems in fucking Artisans? I got through Stonehill really fast. I guess this is the karmic payoff, the karmic payback. It's a good thing I'm not a speedrunner, although I've had people suggest it to me. But I'm not nearly that good.
Mm.
The world record right now is so insane. I guess you don't have to shoot for the world record. Like, shooting for the world record is a goal. It's one of those, like, I would like to try things, but, you know, no one should start out that way. But it's also, it's like, I know that, like, even having a shot in the dark at this point means learning a bunch of movement tech that I don't know how to do. And I don't really know how much I want to dedicate to a video game when I don't have great hands.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Drake some questions, too, because, like, when I have people come on stream with me, the things that I like to ask them are how their history is with video games. So I don't know if I should save this for when he comes back. I guess I can just ask him when he comes back. Did you have anyone to play games with?
Yeah, not really.
Like, at all? No friends, no siblings, no cousins?
I had cousins, but they weren't really into games like me.
Huh. So, like, they didn't even do it through you? Like, they didn't get introduced that way? Oh, there they are. Jesus.
No, not really. I mean, it really wasn't until, like, the Xbox time when another cousin got the first Halo.
Damn. Did you, play different games as a kid than you do now, or just always kind of the same?
Not really. It was kind of more the same. Like, I was, like, 8 when I played Metal Gear Solid, so...
You had my cousin's history. My
Yeah,
cousin was... No,
yeah,
go
that
on.
year was a fun year. There was 2 different Final Fantasies, because that year I also got 7, and I think 8 came out around that time. There was Metal Gear Solid, there was Brave Fencer Musashi, there was... I didn't buy it, but I did rent Tomba. What else did I have for that? I had Resident Evil 3. That one was a fun one. I played it a lot. I could never play the bonus mode because the game was too scratched. There was this really obscure kind of adventure game called Siberia.
That's not obscure. Like, that's... Wait, is that obscure?
It's obscure because there are 2 games called Siberia, one with an S and one with a C. The one I played is the one that starts with a C.
Okay. I was like, that's a PC game. Oh, wait. That's true. And I actually knew that.
Yeah, that one was weird because it played like a adventure game in the first third. Then it turned into a on rails shooter in the second third, and then final third was another adventure bit, and that was really kind of weird.
Sounds like somebody had an interesting dev cycle.
The only real thing I kind of know about it is that the real kind of notable thing I think it is about it is that it's like the only game that the GameFAQs.com site owner actually did a walkthrough for.
Actually did a what?
A walkthrough for
Oh,
the site.
damn.
What else? I'm trying to remember. Oh, there was Legend of Mana. That was a good one.
I think everyone's had a Legend of Mana at one point. Well, not me, but I think my cousin did.
It was a very good game. Rented a bunch of other RPGs like Lunar Silver Star Story and a lot of others. There was a lot of games on the PlayStation. I don't think I'd be able to name them all, mostly because I can't remember them. But I think if I spent some time on GameFAQs, I would be able to recall most of them.
That's how I felt about the PS2, actually.
Yeah, Front Mission 3. That was a good one, too. Yeah.
I think the
I had a lot of PlayStation 1 games.
Yeah, like, you had PlayStation 1 games the way I had PlayStation 2 games, which is interesting. Because, I guess it's because, like, when I was a kid, I was divided between the PlayStation and the PC. So I had Spyro and stuff on the PC. I had Sonic on the computer. Like, I mean the PS1. I had Spyro on the PS1. I had Sonic on the computer. Because I didn't have access to a Sega console, and we weren't really going to get one just for Sonic, because the only other games I knew were on a Sega console were sports games. I'm not saying that's all that was on it, just that's all I knew. I was like, oh, it's sports games, or it's those RPGs my cousin plays with too much talking and not enough gameplay. And I was like, as a kid, like, militantly turned off to turn-based games, because I just didn't feel like they were gameplay. They just seemed like surfing through menus. To be fair, they kind of still are that, but as an adult, I appreciate I appreciate that it's just supposed to be something else. It's a little abstract. But man, as a kid, I was really literal about stuff. So, it was hard to find games to play on the PlayStation, because I had to play games like this where you move around and you do stuff. But my cousin liked games that had to hold his attention. And so, between the two of us, my cousin was the person playing Pharaoh. I was the person playing stuff like Pajama Sam or like random arcade games. Where the hell is that? Get the fuck back here. Ouch. My hand's been bothering me lately. There it goes. That's a crack. That's a good sign. I literally set up this controller because it hurts me less than the Xbox controller does. Yeah, I'm getting old. I think I'm getting to the point where video games are just a thing that's going to exit my life, which is kind of a sad thing to think about. I guess it's already kind of started to happen. I got into tabletop gaming a lot. But like, and the games that I replay are the games that I remember a lot now, and trying to play new games, I still do, and it helps that a lot of modern indie games have a lot of, like, they have a lot of consideration for older people, because they are made by older adults who game. But trying to play older games the way that I used to, and discover the things that my friends grew up with, is becoming harder and harder, because I don't have the patience for those games, and by the admission of a lot of my friends, neither did they. It's not even a patience thing. For a while it was. It's like, I don't have the patience for that. Now I don't have the body for it. I guess that's just what happens. Like, I'm 34 now. I'm old. But the thought I had before was, damn, my cousin and I played a lot of Musashi, though. When we found games that we overlapped with those games pretty hard.
Oh, I bet.
Like, the one RPG my cousin got me to play as a kid was Legend of Dragoon, and it is entirely because you could just be a dragon. And, like, yeah, it was more like dragon armor, but it was still very cool.
Yeah, it wasn't no Breath of Fire, that's sure. Still a good game, though. It's the reason why it gets talked about fondly.
I didn't even know Breath of Fire existed until I was older. But the idea of just like, these dudes have elemental powers, and I'm like, the story is cool, the characters are awesome, and I'm like, alright, I kind of like this. And my cousin's like, now play Final Fantasy. And I'm like, no. No. He tried to get me to play Pokemon because we both like the anime, but my gate for that was actually different. It was that the screen was too small for me to see.
Yeah, that's fair.
So my cousin would play Pokemon, and he tried to explain to me what's going on, and he's like, and I'm like, how do you fly as Pidgeot? And he's like, you go into battle and you hit fly. And I'm like, huh. He tried to show it to me, but I couldn't see it, so I had no idea what was going on. I found out later that using fly in Pokemon games actually sucks. It's just a button you hit where they become immune for an attack. Fine in a strategy game, but I wanted to, like, actually fly. And I was, like, disillusioned by that as a kid. I think the most disillusioning part of playing Pokemon as a kid for the first time is getting my hands on Ruby, realizing that Tail Whip isn't an attack, and just being like, this game sucks, actually. I'm way underpowered compared to the anime. And then my cousin had to hear me bitch about that for 20 years. I just want my real-time battles. But like...
It's basically Power World. I forget if Legends Arceus actually has real time. I don't think they do.
You heard the deflated crash out when you said Power World, didn't you?
Yeah, because I know your problems with it, but it does have real time battles.
Yeah, it also has, like, extremely problematic stuff in it that bothers me.
Oh, I know. I just like pointing it out because, well, it does have real time battles.
Yeah, call me when somebody does Power World, but without the edgy stuff. Do that. Just do Power World, but no edgy stuff, and I'll probably play that. I'm like the opposite of you in a lot of ways. Like, I've actually slacked off on this a lot because of a few friends of mine. But, like, when I was younger, guns were a turnoff for me in games. I would not play anything with guns in it. I didn't touch Ratchet and Clank because of that. I'm like, that's dumb and edgy. Why would you give furries guns? That's just being edgy. That's just like making something it's not supposed to be. Where you've got wholesome, cute animals, and then you're making them do something violent.
You see, you've missed all the other, all the Antler with gun games that were on the PlayStation.
I went back and realized just how many of them there were when I got much older. But yes, it turns out furries with guns was a genre for a while.
Literally one of the more popular games made by one Mr. Epic Games is Jazz Jackrabbit.
Yeah. See, as an adult, I think that's funny. As a kid, I would have been so pissed. I hate this game sometimes. I know where it is, too. Oh, that's neat. If you're missing gems, sometimes you can see them twinkle in the distance.
Yeah.
This is actually a feature that becomes very noticeable in the 4th level, which has mostly really foggy terrain. And there is actually a stage in the game that sort of is meant to teach you this, because it's the only way that you can actually figure out there's something in the fog that you can get to. It's how I figured it out as a kid. And I think that's really neat bit of game design, where it's like, we have this feature, it's meant to help people, but what if we make a stage that kind of needs it to know something's out there? Because if you don't know what you're looking for, you're just going to die in the water. And I think that's really interesting. I also think it's unfortunate that it exists in a game that if I tell people this today, they'll just think that's really cryptic design. But back in the day, that's just kind of how we played games. Where games were expensive, and the idea that I think a lot of people forgot is that we had them for much longer. Like, if you played a game, you played that game for the next 6 months, and that's a short stint.
Yep.
Hi, Okami. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm checking chat also. if I'm slow to reply, it's because chat is still slow, and I have never figured out how to fix it. I have new
Chat always has some kind of a delay.
I have new friends and new stories of the good old days when we had the stuff happen with games. Man, there goes the brain. It dumped all of its RAM. Okay, here's a question. If I call them Mexican grandmas, is that racist?
A little bit.
I don't know what else to call them. And, I'm not actually sure that, this design comes from a good place. If I'm being
No.
perfectly
This
honest.
was, well, no. This was back in the before times.
Yeah, we don't talk about Bombo. I mean, I do, because I think it's funny. If you don't remember, there's a character in Spyro 2 you have to take the flags from. In an Arabian level, where you help to...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one with the Aryan children. You have to help them, like, take the palace. Which feels a bit analogous to some real-world shit, now that I think about it. But, like, that guy's name was Bombo, and he was a guy on a magic carpet wearing a turban and a diaper.
Yep.
And he threw bombs at you from the sky. This game was made before the New York skyline got that remodeling in 2001, so nobody really thought anything of it, but it was made after the conflict in Lebanon, I think. Like, the one in the... was it the 80s? Fuck, I'm blanking on history. Basically, we still had issues with the Middle East, but most of them were on their shores, so we didn't give a shit. And then it turned into a sensitive topic when they brought it over here.
Yeah.
Just dropping in because sorry, Spyro. Anyways, y'all have fun. Thank you. Okami was a stream reg for the longest time because he technically showed up in 2019 and then consistently showed up when I used to do it a lot. So he was one of the oldest regs. He wanted to try a tabletop game and I just never found one that could stick because finding a GM that stays around is hard, and me GMing was even harder because I just didn't have any confidence. Keeping groups together was hard too.
And now?
And now, I don't know, Okami, you want to join a Sonic server? Like, because if you want to join a Sonic server, boy, do I run games all the time. I'm gonna move this window slightly over so I can actually read chat. There we go. Oh, live in an area with little signal. That is unfortunate. I am so sorry. I've just been gone since, like, April or May? Yeah, it's weird because I finally got what I wanted on stream, which was being able to actually play, that's later. Which was being able to actually play Fantasy Life, and then I could finally do it. And then I realized that playing RPGs on stream kind of sucks, actually.
That's why all the good speed runs happen late at night. When no one's watching.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would probably play RPGs on stream, but I would actually need someone to co-stream with. And I can't... Yep. That was different. Well, I got sent all the way back here. Was the checkpoint always there, or is my emulator messing up? Maybe it was always there, and I just never died there before. I like being able to kill that guy with a cannon. Like, I can kill this dude with a cannon? It's kind of weird. Like, I asked you and a few people if they wanted to co-stream tonight, and I feel weird about it because I technically showed you Spyro before.
So I've played Spyro before.
I didn't know you played it before that. You told me after. And then I felt weird. I'm like, did I just mansplain a game to somebody?
It's one of those things where, like, should I stop her? No, she's fine.
Oh god, no, don't do that. I feel weird. I'm so sorry, okay? I'm sorry.
It's like, have you ever blank? Yeah, I have, but I should let her go on.
Oh. I'm waiting.
Hey, Mushrooms, why don't you give us a cool Spyro fun fact?
His original name was Pete.
That is a certified Spyro fun fact.
His original name was Pete the Dragon. It was in testing, and he used to be green. He was, I can't remember what Spark's name was. Sparks also had a name in testing. And the idea was going to be, like, he was a green dragon, because, you know, more recognizably a dragon. But red looked too aggressive, so they settled on green. And then they realized...
And they made the first level.
Yeah, then they made the first level, where the entire ground is green. And they're like, the character's a little hard to see. I'm telling you a thing you know again, aren't I?
Yes. But I'm having you explain for the people at home.
Do you know, it does actually feel really awkward sometimes when I feel like I'm telling people something they know. Because I don't really want to be one of those people, but I end up doing it just because I get excited about something.
Well, then here, let me reverse the roles and tell you something you already know.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know at home, the score for the Spyro the Dragon games was made by one Stuart Copeland. For those of you who are old like me, the only place you'd recognize that name from is because he was the drummer for the band The Police, which worked a lot with Sting in the late 70s and 80s. Are known for very many rock hits, including the very stalkerish I'll Be Watching You.
The very stalkerish one.
You know that song, right?
I mean... Yeah.
I mean, it's a simple question. Do you know the song, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Anyway.
Anyway, there's your other certified Spyro fun fact. He didn't just do the first game, by the way. He did some of the other games too. I think he did
the
scores
second.
for the first trilogy.
He did all of the first trilogy. He also did Enter the Dragonfly, which is why its soundtrack is very good. And the part of the game that people generally don't shit on is the soundtrack. It is quite literally our Spyro 06, and that it had a lot of potential that a lot of people recognize, was a rushed out the door alpha, and has an amazing soundtrack that is beyond criticism.
Yes, because, Mr. Copeland is real great when it comes, when it comes to the music.
It's funny too because he has different styles for the three games, and they are recognizable in the Spyro community as the different eras. And there is a sound font that's a reverse engineer of the instruments he used to compose the first three games, used on a YouTube channel called Copeland, where people submit fan Spyro compositions. Drake, is that you, or is Sue here?
Drake again.
Hi, Drake.
Yeah, it's me. I'm sorry about that. Apparently I didn't know it, but we had some maintenance going on our Wi-Fi, and it kicked me out.
That's okay. I don't know if you really missed anything.
He missed certified Spyro fun facts.
Well, now I can ask you personal questions.
And you also missed
I mean, go ahead, shoot. That's
her being awkward over telling people things they already know.
Yeah, I don't like to mansplain stuff, which technically I'm a woman, so I shouldn't be able to, but I think the term applies.
That's why I don't like the term mansplaining. Just
I don't know what other word to use.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about. It's just kind of a situation of it has sexist connotations.
Yeah. Where did my fodder go? Get down here.
When both sides of the fence can do the same exact thing.
I don't know why the bats want to be the fucking problem animal.
But bats are never the problem.
That's not true. They can be the problem.
Oh, fuck off. Okay, the joke for the people at home is that in the Sonic server, my main character is a bat. She's also 6 years old and generally doesn't have that much sense in her head with anything but technology. She's good with technology and, like, a little bit careless with everything else. But she's the kid you could give an unplugged controller to, and she wouldn't realize it's unplugged because she trusts the person who gave it to her.
But there's actual kid, like, when you're young enough, that's actually a thing that happens.
I know.
Very easily.
It's like people don't expect that because it's like, oh, but she's the tech expert. Yeah, but she's also very trusting. And if like somebody who's nice to her, and she sees as like an older sibling did that, she would just assume that like she's doing real well. And especially if he tells her how well she's playing. She's that kid. I think there was a joke where someone said something like, if I give her a Rubik's Cube that has the stickers reversed, would she figure it out? I'm like, she'd figure it out and give it back to you and say she figured out the hard puzzle. She's like, I even figured out the hard part. Are you proud of me?
Good for her. Head pets.
Yeah, I was about to do that.
It's fine. I like getting them from both of you. By the way, that server's full of degenerate furries. This is an endorsement for some people. It's probably an endorsement for the people that you'd want in there. Okay,
It depends, really.
The people who can control themselves, but are still fun to be around. Like, I have a policy to not name names on stream because I don't want to do witch hunts by accident. But, like, we all know who I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So, less like that guy and more like the other people who hang out in the late hours.
Yeah, I don't know who's being talked about, and nor do I really give much a care.
Eventually you will. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it too much.
It's pretty much, and this is kind of a downside to being the situation I've been kind of pushing myself into. I'm not as active in the Rings and Running Shoes server as I'd like to be.
Yeah, it's understandable. There we go. I can get the hell out of here. I hate this level. It's boring to look at. Taking a bite of sushi every time I exit a stage.
It's good motivation.
It's mostly that I'm just trying not to hold up stream by eating it.
I remember when I first played this game, I would constantly mess with those cannons. Like, I would shoot them all around, just fucking off.
Oh yeah, like, they're great because you can actually, these two guys are shooting cannons earlier in the stage. You can kill one of them with the other guy's cannon.
I did that the first time I played. Like, that was I don't know why that was an instinct.
Aha, because Splody. It's really funny, like, we were talking about the games we grew up with, and I actually mentioned that I have the opposite thing GB does, where I will be turned off to any game with guns in it, like, or at least I would as a kid. I'll play them as an adult. I still don't like the realistic ones, or the, like, realistic in air quotes ones. So, no Call of Duty, no Battlefield, none of that, because it just bothers me. And I'm not into the military aesthetic, because I'm very anti-war. I like the fantasy guns that are colorful. So as an adult, I would play Ratchet and Clank. As a kid, I would be like, oh, that's edgy. Why would you give furries weapons? To which GB has reminded me that there is an entire genre of furries with guns that just existed on PlayStation consoles. And I found out about
Wait,
this.
Are you talking about Jack and Dexter, or there's
No.
a couple John?
No. Just like there are a lot of games on PlayStation consoles that fall under the genre furries with guns. So Ratchet and Clank, I found out about this because of a game called Rough Trigger.
Ah, yes, Rough Trigger.
That was when I found out. I'm like, why is this a genre? Okay. Well, Fur Fighters was a Dreamcast game originally. I don't think it has a PS2
Bloody
port.
Roar. Actually, that doesn't really count, I guess.
I mean, I also ended up with the weirdo game that was literally a living tank, tiny tank.
Oh yeah, everyone played Tiny Tank. At least, I think. Wait, which stage am I missing? Oh god. I gotta go to the euphemism now. I think I also have to grab the key again because I exited the stage. Which is a point. I don't like the remake of this. However, it does save your keys when you find them in the homeworld.
And that's good.
I'll give it credit where it's due. I don't like the remake because it's buggy mess and the physics suck. And that ruins way more of the game than the quality of life stuff can make up for. So, like, I'm not trying to be subjective about it, but, like, there's always going to be an amount of subjectivity. Because that's not going to bother some people where it bothers me. Having said that, I do want it to be clear that I have a reason for disliking something. I would also like to mention that one of the good things about that game is mod support, and there is actually a way to play as a fox. Which is the only way I would ever fucking play that game again. I do find it somewhat irksome that the only reason Insomniac stopped making Spyro games is because they really didn't know what else to do with a four-legged mammal, or a four-legged animal. Like, the joke became they couldn't give him a gun. The actual reason is they sort of ran out of ways to give him powers that were unique, without straight up making him turn into other animals, at which point they asked the question, we do that anyway when he plays as different characters, it feels gimmicky at that point. So they had elemental breath ideas, but that was kind of scrapped and given to a different studio before Enter the Dragonfly started production, and that studio kind of rolled with it because there were some leftover Insomniac people on it. Unfortunately, it was mostly new Insomniac people. So
I really kind of wish I got a chance to play the games that actually had Cinder in them.
Legend of Spyro. You can... I think they emulate okay, but the problem is that getting a hold of Dawn of the Dragon is hard because the good version of it is a PS360 game. It does not have backwards compatibility on an Xbox One. I checked. And finding a copy of it today is difficult because now that game counts as retro. It's one of those situations where I kind of wish they'd get re-released. I don't want them to get remade. I want them to get ported. Exactly as they are. In all of their broken, janky glory, because I
mean, you gotta realize something. I don't think you actually knew this about me. I'm a PS stance. I've been playing PlayStation like all my life. It was the cheaper of the two consoles when I was younger, so it was the easiest to access.
Too. Like, what about Nintendo? Nintendo was technically cheaper.
I mean, yeah, I was also a Nintendo boy, but that was only for the handhelds. I actually got a PlayStation. I actually got a PlayStation 3 before I ever got a Wii.
That's fair. Actually, so did I. No, wait. Yeah, so did I, actually. I got it because my cousin had it, and I was getting into RPGs at the time because WRPGs as a genre really took off on consoles. Like, because they could actually fucking run them now. So it's like, oh, RPGs are cool now because they're like Oblivion. And I got it for that, and Sonic 06. Don't look at me.
Hey, in all honesty, there's a lot of Sonic games that I know I'm going to be one of the weird ones that I actually enjoyed, like Sonic Unleashed.
No, a lot of people like Unleashed.
Secret of the Rings, I loved.
See, the only thing I ever hear people say about Secret of the Rings that's bad is that it's way too grindy and they don't like having to backtrack. But Black Knight basically fixes that issue. So for a lot of people, their idea is that, like, if Secret Rings had more of the Black Knight's quality of life, it would actually have aged considerably better. I will agree with the take insofar as I appreciate where they're coming from. I can't really stand on Rails games, though.
It also goes, there's a lot of people when it came to Secret of the Ring, well, when it comes to most Sonic games, they're like, oh, I want an old Sonic game. I want one of the originals. I want it to be this again.
Yeah.
And it's like, we won't get that easily now, because one of the things that made Sonic feel so fast back in those days was the limitations of the system itself.
Well,
now,
I think what a lot of people actually wanted at the time wasn't a retro revival. They kind of just wanted the games to feel like they built off of those games, because it felt like instead of building off of Sonic 3, where it's like you can still play as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles with all the elemental shields and everything, but in 3D or something, now it's the games are totally different, and they don't feel at all like an evolution the way Mario felt like it evolved from 2D to 3D. Because Mario 64 still feels like a Mario game, even if it has to account for the third dimension and a lot of differences. Sonic Adventure doesn't feel at all connected to Sonic 3 in its aesthetics, as well as its gameplay choices and design, and even the characters are different looking considerably. Like, it feels like an actual break in continuity. And I think a lot of the tension started there. And I know why that tension exists now, because the history of Sonic is complicated, and it's a lot of artists fighting corporate situations, and it also had to contend with the corporate politics of a company that had its different regional branches hate each other. And there was a beef between America and Japan for a long time. I'm gonna have to backtrack way more because I took the wrong path. That's my fault. The thing that kind of shot Sonic in the foot was that the Americans had a way different expectation, because the Genesis games could not, by the limitations of the system, provide the context for the characters, and we had to get that from the adjacent media like the comics and the cartoons. And also the manuals would do things that support the canon of the cartoons and comics, because the story Bible was united back then in, like, this is Planet Mobius, here's Sonic's friends. But then Adventure is like, nah, we're just gonna retcon all that. So it came as an actual shock to fans outside of Japan. I don't know how the Japanese market took it either, to be honest, because Japanese Sonic has its own history. But I think what people want is for the games to feel continuous. And, like, Sonic Robo Blast 2 is literally the closest to Sonic 4 we will ever really get, to me. Because it's the games in 3D. Is that Sue?
that is Sue.
Hey, Sue. Talking about Sonic. You came in at the best time. Your favorite topic has come up. Watch him leave us a joke. So, like... But yeah, like, to me, that's what I wanted, and I know that's what a lot of other people wanted, because I grew up in an era of like, people where 3D was a thing. It was the big thing. It's like, oh, we've been playing these games for a while on, like, computers and, like, Sega and Nintendo consoles, and it's like, what's it gonna look like when it looks like when we can play with the camera behind us for once? That was a big deal. That was a really big deal, because it means that games felt more immersive. And Sonic's adjustment to 3D was to throw everything out and just, like, start from scratch, including its aesthetics. And it's hard to, like, I know that the history is like, well, Sega games just look like that. Those are Sega aesthetics. Sega skies are actually a thing. I actually take some of my art style from those because I know that my best friend likes them. However, to someone who doesn't know any of that, like a kid who grew up with the Genesis games, it just looks like you put characters in a world they don't belong in, and they don't even look like the same characters anymore. I'm done with the ramble, I'm sorry.
Man, no, you're good. This is your stream, after all.
So hi Sue, how are you doing?
Fantastic.
It's the morning hours. I meant to ask Drake, what was the first PlayStation game you played?
Gods, I don't actually remember what the first PlayStation game I played. I remember what games I played the most, but I can't remember the first.
That's fair.
Independence Day. The Independence Day movie tie-in game.
No,
Was it good?
We weren't really a movie time.
I think he's answering for himself.
Yeah.
My bad.
You know, I'm gonna, if I say one, maybe that'll jog your memory. And maybe we'll be able to bond over buying that from Blockbuster, renting it out.
You had games in Australia? Damn.
Yeah. So we had a chip PS1, so we would well, at the time we didn't have a chip PS1, but we did eventually have a chip PS1, so you could rent like PlayStation games. If it was a new release, you got 3 days, and otherwise you got 7 days. But what we do is we'd rent it and we just burn it.
That's fair. By the way, I should tell you this, but Drake is a very sincere person, and yeah, I want you to
I
release the
apologize in
dragons,
advance.
recover our something, and recover the eggs from those pesky blue thieves. I remember this guy.
Very serious person, not a big sarcasm fella.
He'll just not realize that you're doing it.
Yeah,
Doing a
I'm
bit, okay.
I tend to take things at very face value at first, unless I actually actively know you. It's a bad habit of mine.
Yeah,
I'm also a very, I don't hide anything.
thankfully, Sue is also a very serious and sincere person who does not ever lie, and generally you can trust the things that he says.
Yeah, I don't do bits.
He doesn't tell jokes.
No. Well, I'm gonna be real. I thought Draco was Draco until you talked.
Yeah, that's weird, because Draco's in here too, but he doesn't talk anymore. I think he's still in Korea.
I might shift my name over to my, to Katic.
Oh, shit.
Just so it's easier for people to tell me apart from people.
I would have to remember to call you Katic, but yes. Sorry.
Draco, oh shit, Draco went to Korea? Naughty or nice?
So, south.
I'm assuming nice.
Yeah, south. He went there for work. Oh, I think he's back now, actually, because the thing got... I think he was only there for, like, he was supposed to be there for half a year, and then he just kind of came back because the thing... something. Oh, fuck, I can't remember now. I just remember hearing it, and I was like, what are you going to Korea for? You want to be owned by Samsung now?
That's worth company to be owned by.
I mean, Amazon literally wants to own people, so I get... I'm not... No! We already did the politics before fucking stream started. Not again with this.
Yeah, Amazon's not in politics yet. God, I am so fucking lost in this map.
Oh god, I hate this level. This is my least favorite one in the game, because I always fuck it up.
A found fellas to kill. I must be going the right way.
Gotta hold the D-pad to the left the second I get in here, because if I don't, I won't be able to do it. And... if I die, and fail, like, I actually have to completely exit the stage because of the way that it loads you in, won't let me hold the D-pad to the left again and get all those planes like I just did. It's actually really annoying. I was told when I first streamed this game that what I did, or not when I first streamed, a few years ago when I streamed, I think it was 2023 stream, that what I do... Oh, I missed a plane. God damn, I am fucked. What I do is actually the speedrun route before the new one was discovered. How unfortunate.
Yeah. You always were a bit old-fashioned.
Also, the level I did was Dry Canyon, and that's why I called it a euphemism. I forgot where to go! Ah, fuck. Well, it's okay. I'm nervous and I'm talking. We do the best we can with what we have. And unfortunately, what I have is potatoes for brains.
Hey, you're our fun little potato.
Ah, validation. It gives me strength to persevere. External validation, my beloved.
Oh, I was supposed to go into the goal. Makes sense.
Wait, someone pinged me? Oh, someone pinged me to tell me happy birthday. How nice of them. Because everybody
Oh yeah,
was...
happy birthday.
Yeah, happy
Oh,
birthday.
yeah, Sue, guess
I was
what?
gonna wait until I was
What am I guessing?
proper day, but happy birthday.
Sue,
It's your birthday?
I have icing. Straight out of the
Okay,
tub.
well, that's fine. You know, it's your birthday. I can't be mean to you on your birthday.
Hey, you can, you've done it before.
Yeah, but see, it wasn't your birthday in my time zone, so it was fine.
Oh. Damn. I'm only doing it this early so I can outrun a snowstorm. You know what those are, right?
A snowstorm?
Yeah. You get those, right?
No, it doesn't snow in Australia.
Fair enough. They suck.
No, I've never seen the snow. I twice I have gone to mountains explicitly to see snow, and it has not been snowing on those days.
Wow.
Like one time, we had a trip to Tasmania, explicitly to see snow in the winter. It was snowing the day before we got there, and it was snowing the day after we left.
Wow. When God consents to
Yes.
smile. I'm just gonna believe that sentence completely without asking.
No, that's actually like not a joke. That day before, day after.
You know, wait, I've talked about you to GB before. I don't know if I've told Drake or... You want me to call you Caddick now? I don't know if I've told...
Up to you. Up to you. You know me either way. I mean, hell, you know me by a whole separate name too.
Yeah, like, I think, I don't know if I told you this, no, I told GB this. Sue is the person who had to go a long way to work because there were kangaroos on his footpath and he actually didn't want to fuck with them. And
oh no, you don't want to fuck with kangaroos.
he
I've
took
seen
a
the shit that
picture
those guys can
because
do.
he took a picture because he didn't think his workplace would believe him, but apparently they just did without even asking.
Yeah, well, they're like, oh, we want to see the photo, but like, you're not gonna lie about that. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, no, I was an hour late to work.
And seriously, you do not want to fuck with kangaroos. They are one of the meanest animals out there. There's a reason Australia fought the kangaroo wars and lost.
Wait, you lost to a different animal? I thought that was emus.
Yeah, no. Emus was the one we fought in the war.
I thought you fought both separate times.
No. So there's currently like extermination on them. So they're in some places they're considered pests. So like you're allowed to get a gun to go and shoot them.
Oh, so if I were in Australia, I could actually get like emu eggs would probably be something on the menu.
Oh yeah, no. So obviously you have to go to the places where they're considered pests. Otherwise, they're protected. But more emus than kangaroos. Like kangaroos are kind of just like pests anyway. Yeah, no. You can eat kangaroo. You can buy kangaroo and chops. And some places, if you go to you can go with emu out bush. So when I was going around Australia in the bush, I had a coat of arms pizza.
What's a coat of
So
arms
Australian
pizza?
coat of arms is emu and kangaroo. And I gotta say, fucking awful pizza.
It's called a coat of arms pizza. Ow.
Well,
Ow.
yeah, like it's a gimmick pizza, and like I think it's just there to like get rid of kangaroo meat because it's very gamey. Because you've seen pictures of kangaroos; those motherfuckers are all muscled.
Yeah,
I
they don't
mean,
skip leg
you're
day.
talking to people who love the fucking taste of deer over here.
Oh yeah, no,
But
I
you're
do
not
actually
gonna
taste
put
the
deer on a pizza.
Yes, yes, we do.
Yeah,
You're not gonna enjoy You're not gonna enjoy your
Yes,
pizza with beer on it.
actually, we would. Fucking venison pizza is actually rather good if prepared right.
yeah. So
but
it's, you have
like
to.
any game meat is like.
It's definitely
really
something you eat
bad.
with onions as a topping too. At least I think so. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, but like out in like a bush, like a pub, cafe, like out in the bush pub, they're not preparing it right. Like it was.
It's not passing. It's not passing the health inspection.
No, it's passing the health inspection. It's just it's fucking game meat. It was fucking awful. It was so stringy, which is an interesting experience to have like meat be stringy when it's a fucking like ball, like a tiny little ball of meat.
Wow. Damn.
I mean, another huge thing here, at least in the state I'm in, Pennsylvania, is venison burgers and jerky.
Oh yeah, we like deer jerky here.
We actually have the first day of hunting season is a statewide holiday. All schools, or at least all schools there areas with high hunting activity, actually have off.
Hey GB, what do you guys eat out there?
I mean, nothing really exotic. Still just beef and pork and stuff.
Like, you don't have any pests that you need to get rid of?
No, not really. I mean, we still have pests, but we don't eat the pests.
I mean, I can think of something that some white Republicans think are pests in Texas, but I probably shouldn't say that either.
I thought we said no politics.
Right. Damn. I
Oh
actually...
yeah, it's like if you got like your pest animal is like boar or something, it's really unfortunate because it's like you can't fucking eat them.
What is
Why
considered a
can't you eat
pest?
boar?
Like, I guess
Oh, they're,
rabbits, maybe. Like,
Oh, maybe the boar in America is different, but the boar in Australia is all like fucking riddled with worms.
I was about to say that the boars here are actually very mean and probably not very edible. However,
Oh yeah, also yeah, boars are dickhead. Like I sure trying to kill them, but they don't have to be such dicks about it.
yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, boars are one of those proactive creatures.
But we were talking about video games and old games, and I wanted to know what if you guys had games that you played with other people.
Oh, my favorite old game I used to play with my younger brother was PlayStation 2. If you guys ever heard of this series, I will be surprised. The Monster Rancher
Time
games.
Splitters.
I love Monster Rancher.
I loved it too so much.
I
It
always
was-
had a tiger.
I loved the tiger. My brother loved the what was it?
And the dragon.
Oh, my brother loved the fucking Hercules beetle. My brother loved the Hercules beetle, and I was always the tiger.
So I know from previous conversations that GB also likes Monster Rancher to a degree. But I can't remember if it's just the anime.
I never really played much of the games, thought the anime was neat.
I tried watching the anime when I was where I had to be the first time. You know where I'm talking about, Shrooms.
Yeah.
And it was... I couldn't get that into it, honestly.
I think it's one of those things that kind of like is a product of its time.
It reminded me a lot. I will say it did remind me, at least art style wise, of the old Duel Master anime.
Oh yeah, I can see that. That was a funny ass anime in the dub.
Oh, good. I loved Duel Master. Just like I enjoyed Bakugan when the anime first came out, but I hate. Like, Bakugan and Yu-Gi-Oh! Are two of these shows that are just like, okay, we get it. Why did you have to remake this, and why aren't you going with the original? Like, it feels like the original story is just completely forgotten.
Yeah. At least it gave us Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, like the start of Yu-Gi-Oh is like fucking completely different to. Well, I mean, it's different to the rest, but also it's like completely different than the manga. It's completely different the whole time.
Does the
mean-
card game have a name that's not Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, it's literally Yu-Gi-Oh! The trading card game. That is the name of the game.
But the animes... I always like in universe, what is the card game they play called?
It's considered
Monsters.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh yeah, Duel Monsters. That's right. It's also called Duel Monsters.
Huh.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh is, well, if you believe the dub, it's what Yugi says to bring out his other form.
Yami Yugi, who I'm trying to remember the fucking name of.
His name is Atem. Atem.
Yeah, Atem. That's right, Atem. I watched that whole original series from beginning to end.
I actually only got Yu-Gi-Oh! In bits and pieces.
Although I will say I was always more of a Pokemon stan, like flat out when I was younger. It was the anime that saved my life. It was the subject, video game, everything that saved my life.
Mine was Sonic.
Period.
Like, you couldn't go like 10 seconds without having me mention Sonic when I was a kid. It drove my family insane.
That was me and Pokemon, and me and my brother always had an issue. We would fight over which was better, Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh!
Ow.
As I'm older, I actually now I see the complete differences between the original shows.
Yeah,
And
with Pokemon you
it's-
get Lopunny, and with Yu-Gi-Oh! You get Dark Magician Girl.
Oh no, Digimon and Pokemon. Did I say Yu-Gi-Oh! By mistake? Yep. My bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no. It was Pokemon and Digimon that we had the contests over.
I think
And
my cousin and
the-
I liked both.
the
We just had
biggest-
Dragon Ball.
The biggest difference between the two, in all honesty, as I'm older, is Pokemon. It was episodic to the point, everything changed. The single episode usually had the answer to the question.
Yeah.
Where Digimon, it was very overarching, and you had a lot of. It was closer to a seinen than Pokemon was.
I think a lot of shonen anime can also be arc-based, but I see what you mean by that, considering the subject matter of some of it.
I mean, just look at Matt and TK. That is all I should really need to know for anyone who's a Digimon stans.
I'm gonna be
Matt and TK's whole lives. That is a perfect exploration of their situation.
I actually forgot a lot of the anime. I'll be
Matt-
honest. The one thing I remember about it is Gadomon's entire history is really sad.
Oh yeah, I mean, and what happens to Wizardmon? Just
Yeah.
oh my god.
But I actually forgot a lot of it because I mostly see my cousin and I liked both, but we had both games for both series. We had a PlayStation Digimon World. That's a game we shared. Like my cousin and I mentioned this earlier. We didn't have a lot of overlap as kids because my cousin. Because when GV was telling me about his game history earlier, he has a lot of overlap with my cousin. He played Metal Gear Solid when he was 8. So like,
I didn't-
he played a lot of those games, but when my cousin and I did find games to overlap on, we overlapped obsessively. We both had Tomba and Brave Fencer Musashi, and we both spent a lot of time in Digimon World. If we have a genre that we still to this day share, it is pet simulators like that. Games where you take care of
Yes.
something. He still loves the Chow Garden in Sonic. It's the one, like, when I wanted to get him to try to play the system I run, he's like, how edgy can I be? And I'm like, give me anything you want. Give me a Chow if you want. He's like, I can be an edgy Chow. He's like, can I get edgy Chow to attack for me? And I'm like, so there's a move called Cannon Fodder. And he just starts laughing at the name. It's like, sounds like a little girl when he's doing it because of the way his voice gets when he laughs. It's like the funniest shit.
I mean, Edgy Chow looks over at the Shadow Chow.
I mean, like, all the Dark Chow, kind of. Like, yeah, you can
True.
just be a Dark Chow that commands other Dark Chow to fight for you, and Like, but like he still like when he plays those games, he actually takes care of his pets. Like he might make all of them dark chow, but they're very loved dark chow. He treats them like he does his dogs, where he says very nice things to them. Oh good, I can get out of the Amanda Show level now. I call it that because Wizards Peak's music sounds like the Amanda Show opening and closing because it was composed by the same person.
Yeah.
There's your Spyro fun fact. Oh, yeah, but my cousin and I had so much, like, we had so little in common that I guess the things we did have in common mattered, like, a lot. Monster Rancher was one of those, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, we played Monster Rancher 4 a lot, which sucks because that's the one where you had to get actual discs to put in the thing instead of it being like the Game Boy games where you just type in words.
I mean, that was actually the only Monster Rancher I had the luxury of playing.
Yeah, I do have nostalgia for it. It just sucks that I had to use discs.
I remember I had one disc that gave me a monster to this day that always disappeared. It was like, it looked like it was a dragon shape, always disappeared, and it always told me I was not ready for.
Yeah. Damn, those games got remade. Actually, 1 and 2, they got remakes.
They
What's the
did? What
retro?
system?
They're on Steam.
Okay, I gotta look them up, because that is...
Monster Rancher DX or something. I don't know if they're good, but I know they got remade. So, first multiplayer game you guys got into, like, online. What was your introduction to the wider gaming community?
Okay, that's an easy one. That's Unreal Tournament 99.
Damn.
The PS2 online demo disc.
You had a lot of demo.
Oh yeah, because it's on the PlayStation 2 online.
Online community for a video game would have to be... I can put it away. Would have to be, what's it called? Closest thing would have to be probably one of the Modern Warfares. Modern Warfare 2 was probably the first time I ever played anything online. I was much more of a League of Legends player when I played online.
I'm also kind of I'm kind of like MMOs too, like anything on PC.
No. StarCraft. That was my first true, like, loved online game.
I'm gonna be the weird person here and tell you what mine is, and I guess it'll surprise nobody.
Penguin?
What? No. It's RuneScape.
Oh, wait, no, I know the answer to this one. It's the Ratchet and Clank,
no,
free multiplayer.
that's no, it's RuneScape. It's old school RuneScape.
I forgot
well,
about
I mean, that would have been
I
RuneScape 2 back in the day.
I did
Yeah,
play,
like-
I did play that. It just was not before my StarCraft days.
Yeah, it was the first.
StarCraft literally took over my life for a while. I'd say what, a good half a year or so. It ruined my first relationship I ever had.
I do have to say the chronal whiplash between, say, Modern Warfare 2 and StarCraft 1. There's like 10 years between them.
I'm talking StarCraft 2, StarCraft.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, no. I'm for the record, I'm hitting my 30s in the middle of this year. So, well, I'm hitting 30 middle of this year. So. I'm
also hitting 30 the middle of this year. I was just getting worried because I said a game that came out in '99 and then everyone else said a game that came out in mid-2000s.
I can't believe I forgot to do High Caves.
Even though I do know Shroom is well and truly older than me. And I guess well and truly older than you then as well.
Now everybody guessed GB's age.
Sorry, what did you say?
Everybody guess GB's age.
You wouldn't say unless they're comedically younger. So I'm gonna guess like 23.
What does he sound like he is?
I know. Could you just like give me like a one-word sentence?
What?
I mean, you can't argue with that. Yeah, I'm gonna say like 23, 22, 20, 20. Locking that in.
Kadak? Drake, you want to take a guess?
I feel like I should remember this because I feel like I was told it before.
Just
But
like
I will
off top of your head.
I will definitely say early 20s.
Do you want to correct them?
No. Part of me wants to. The part of me doesn't.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, you wouldn't say that unless they're like early 20 or like early 40s. And they don't sound like they're 42. They don't have that
Well,
exasperation. in their
how
voice.
old do I sound? I gotta ask. Like, you know my...
I mean,
You sound like you're in the miasma that extends from like mid-20s to late 20s. Is this the fuck? Oh, I'm supposed to go the other way.
I actually thought Sue
If
was
you would
older, I'll be
believe,
honest.
like, you wouldn't believe it, but I actually look older. I actually look older than my actual age.
I look like I'm 16 and I'm tired of nurses giving my paperwork to my mom.
Well, I'm sorry you're a child.
Are you?
That's a good question. In either case, my cup is empty. I'm gonna go refill it. Right back. You can tell them how old I am if you want. I don't really care.
He's 34.
Okay. 34. That's not that much. That's
He's
not
my
that much.
age. We're the same age for a few months. He's older than I am, but only by a few months, but only by several months, which is really funny. Because when I heard his voice, I'm like, he's like 19, isn't he? He's like 19 at the oldest. This kid sounds like he has a curfew, and he's my fucking GM. What the hell? Oh right, Sue wasn't here for the story about how I met you two. Hey Sue, want to hear a tale of epic loss and joy and self-discovery? It's like a Disney movie where bullshit happens.
If you say the word that begins with, if you say that name, I'm leaving. I'm instantly leaving. If it involves what's his name, I'm just gonna.
Honestly,
It does.
no.
Doesn't it? Oh, in that case, I am interested in the story then.
This is after that whole crash out happened and I was healing enough from it to like get off my ass and
Yeah.
actually do something about how depressed I was. So after that point, I decided to do things that were good for me. I'm like, so I have acknowledged by this point I have problems beyond this specific person. I have problems with isolation, etc. I'm gonna do something about it. I think there are things I can do. First of all, lock my fucking Twitter and don't use it anymore.
Okay, that's the easiest.
The easiest.
Well, not the easiest, but the most effective.
The most of my mental health skyrocketed after a month of not using it.
By the way, how pissy do you think Elon is that nobody calls X Twitter? I mean, nobody calls Twitter X.
I hope he pisses himself at night. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Muskmelon. Not right now, anyway.
Yeah.
Later. We can complain about him later.
Story.
Yeah, so
Story time.
the big one is I decided to, instead of like being in communities I hate because I feel like I should just learn how to acclimate, I'm going to seek out people that I'd like being around, even if it's going to be hard and probably cost me an amount of emotional like difficulties. And you have some context about the kind of people I like being around, so you probably have some imagination of what that was. But I said, you know what? That's what I need to be happy. I'm going to do it, even if it's hard. So I did that. I met Drake that way. I met him in a furry community. And we actually became friends. We had a couple of rough patches because I didn't realize Pokemon was his comfort thing, and I have some opinions about it.
I've heard you talk.
Yeah, anyway, so after that, I decided to, like, try running games, because clearly I like playing in games, and clearly I want to be a GM. And pie in the sky, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if I could just consistently have a game that I could run once a week? And I thought that it would be rewarding, so I got a group together of people who wanted to try... At first they wanted to play Wanderhome, but that fell apart. Then we played Animon Story for... After playing board games for a long time, we played Animon Story at the start of the year. And that was the point... I think this started in May of this year, when I started to kind of heal a lot more, because I had... It happened in stages. It happened at first with being able to reach out to people again, and then it happened in being able to actually talk to people about how I felt, and then it happened in being able to actually feel connections with people. But the whole thing with my Animon group was unfortunate because Drake was there for that entire crash out, where we had players who didn't get along. And because I'm stupid, I tried to make them. I'm like, our session 0 lasted for 8 hours because people couldn't stop arguing.
Ooh.
Yeah, so...
Fucking Wanderhome as well. Ugh.
Wanderhome... I want to play Wanderhome with the right
I got
people.
nothing against. I got
Oh,
nothing
no,
against
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. We both know.
It's like, hey, let's have a
wonderful
fucking,
game. Community is radioactive.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, its community is...
That's kind of how it always is, right?
It's cozy games,
Like,
yeah.
the more
like...
positive the like media is, the more toxic the community is.
Yeah, like, I adore Wanderhome, but its community is, like, radioactive, and it got to the point where checking its Discord server caused me immediate stress, because I was like, what am I going to get yelled at for today? What am I going to get woke scolded for today? What word am I going to be told is problematic that I use today, even though I don't actually use any slurs or swears in public discords, even though I don't say anything offensive? Yeah, like, what am I going to be told that I'm not good enough for today? And it was that for like 5 months before I finally lost it. And like, it sucks in hindsight because that made me a worse person, because toxic people kept pushing my buttons and kept pushing me. It made me a worse person, and then when I stopped being around those people, and I stopped altogether in 2024, I'm in like one Discord server for updates about a book, but I don't interact at all. It's for a different system anyway. But like, I started to just get better. And then like, when my Animon group it was fine, like, we had fun for a bit, and people really appreciated the work I put in at first, even if it was still... We were down a player for a bit because they had a personal thing come up, but that's okay, because we still had 5 players. And we had a whole thing going on, and a few people posted an off-game chat, and I was happy. I thought I had a good table. But then the incompatibility started to show, and after a while I'm like, okay, what can I do about this? I think what I'm going to do is take a break from running for a bit. I'm going to ask... I'm gonna find a game that maybe we can play that's lighter. Like, nobody wants to go back to playing board games. What if I try a PBTA system? Because yeah, those are easy. Like, we'll take a break. We'll do a short adventure. We'll come back to it.
Some of them are easy.
Well, the one that I run now it's a Sonic system. Yeah, it's actually very light. You roll 2d6 plus your attribute for everything. And I'm
No, wait, no, sorry, my mistake. I was thinking of Forged in the Dark. Forged in the Dark is not easy.
Oh yeah, no, Forged in the Dark it's adjacent to PBTA, but it's the one that you play when you want to get real complicated about stuff you didn't think was complicated. I should find a group to play it with, because I really, really, really want to play Forged in the Dark one day.
Forged in the Dark is the one you play when you are a professional DM. Like, you people pay you money because you're that good at DMing.
Damn, maybe
that's the thing you play for fun.
Damn. Oh, so hi, GB. I was regaling Sue with the story of my character development. Hello, who joined?
Oh, the other person got AFK kicked.
Oh.
I think.
Oh,
They're
hey,
back.
Drake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Drake's back.
I'm just.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm just
We
telling.
had a fuse pop.
Oh. I'm telling Sue about the story that I told you earlier on the Animon thing. Which, like, I was like, it's up in the air between the Sonic system and a system called Apillion. You play as dragons, and like, of course that caught my attention. Shroom has a thing she likes. I'm one of those people who's got like a few autistic hyperfocuses, and if you poke me about any of them for any game, I will just instantly look at it. I might not play it, I'll look at it. However, I mean, a few people in here. I know GB is like that too, because he needs games where you play as furries, which I look out for, or anthros. I should call them anthros. And I look out for that.
I just read game systems for fun. It's my it's the thing I read before bed.
That's actually fair.
If it has animals in it, or I do love dragons. Like I'm more than a little obsessed with dragon. I had dragonology books when I was a kid. So.
I have one on my shelf.
Dragonology does go. Did go hard when I was like 9.
I think it's actually super cool. Like, they're so interactive, and I really appreciate that there is bits of real-world science in there. There's just kind of bits and pieces that make a kid curious about the world. I think that's great. So back on the story I was telling. So I do want to finish it before I finish this actual like level. Hopefully. So when I was trying to figure out which to run, I figured I'll just go with the Sonic system, because I know there's a Discord server for that, and I can find somebody that can teach me how to play it in there, probably. Like, maybe there's a group in there I can join, or at least someone can help me with a system, building a character, and the like.
Reference. Is this the same Sonic system, or the same Sonic Discord from when I left?
I think so. Funny shit about that. I ended up becoming really involved in that server.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't expect to, because I was just in there to learn how to play the game. I met GB in there. He's the other GM that runs all the time. He's the other GM that runs all the time. Guess who the other GM is?
I'm going to assume it's you.
It sure is! I don't know how it happened. It was kind of an accident. I'm doing real well. I definitely look like I play this game all the time.
It's not showing up for me now.
Oh. Anyone else?
What is it?
The stream.
The stream?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I can see it.
damn.
Works on my machine.
It might just be my own net, that's all.
Sorry.
Not your fault.
I am streaming it on Twitch also. But, yeah, that's okay. It's just...
Oh yeah, speaking of Twitch, just as like a heads up, you still got Gabe in your linked channels.
Oh. Yeah, I haven't paid attention in a while. I don't know what he's up to, but maybe I should...
I don't think you need to check in on him. I don't think you're gonna get anything good out of that experience.
Probably not. He knows where to find me. If he wants to talk, he knows where to find me. Having said that...
That was like 5 years ago. So.
4 years ago.
Oh yeah, 4 years ago.
Technically it was 3, ass end of 2021, but still, you get the idea. He knows where I am. Anyway. So, I go in there, and I have a tutorial game. I have a whole ass game that, the main GM, who's in there at the time, the only guy running games, by the way, he's the, he organizes one for me, and then everyone in the community finds out that I'm a bit of a skill monkey, and I will just mess with something just to see how it works. So I'm getting more involved in the community because we have Sonic in common, and because my own Animon group doesn't really meet up outside of game days. So I'm kind of lonely. Being in calls is nice. I end up hitting it off with some of the regs, and then one day I'm like, I kind of trust this community. Maybe there's other people who GM and I could talk to them about the problems in my Animon group. So one night, I post in AO, in the adults only area of it, because I don't really want the advice of minors on this. Because it's not of an NSFW nature, it's just the kids are fucking stupid. So, I should be nice.
To be fair, there are some kids that are more emotionally mature than adults.
Yeah, but it's not most of them. But
No, it's not most of them.
and it doesn't have to be because they're kids, so I should be less mean. But anyway, we got... So, that was actually when GB poked me. He's like, if you really want to talk about this, I can help you. He's like, he's like, give me the whole story and I'll try to help you. I gave him the abridged version to the best of my ability. It still took me 8 hours to type all of it. He summed it up for me in 2 sentences. Number 1, wow, you're kind of a doormat, aren't you? Number 2, you're a very anxious person.
Damn. What's your peg?
Pegged, because he also, I think, told me later, he sort of notices it in calls. He was the first person that ever actually noticed how anxious I get in calls, how much I struggle to talk, and how not well I'm doing sometimes. I never had anyone notice, and I never really felt like anyone cared.
I've noticed that a long time ago for quite a while.
Well, I guess the thing that I should...
I never verbalized it, I just more reacted to it.
It's fair, it's just that I've never had anyone actually say it to me, and I've never had anyone actually... So, the thing is that we met in a server full of people. There were like 8 or 9 people in calls every day. I used that as a way to get over some social anxiety, but I was also struggling to get a word in, and he was one of the people who actually stuck up so that I could, and I'm used to people just letting shit go instead of trying to make space for me. It was weird. And I was kind of taken aback by it, honestly. So I figured, well, he's noticed that about me. Maybe I can trust him with things. So we talked about GMing stuff. And I told him about the things that were hard. And the other stuff that Sue doesn't want to hear about. So he's got all that context now, too, because that's kind of where it started. Or I guess that was a chapter of it.
Oh, that... Okay, sorry.
Yeah, anyway, skipping over that a bit.
On the same page now.
Yeah, on the same page now. So, he knows about that, because that was a big reason of my confidence getting shot. And it affected everything I did, including running games, because running games is ultimately very social. So, he tried to help me...
Thank God I can be mean to that guy now.
Don't be mean to him. We sort of patched it up. We're just like... Occasionally we talk. Like, no, he didn't handle shit very well. I understand where he's coming from with it. I'm not going to forgive him over that. Because it was just poor communication. But it is what it is. And I don't care. I'm over it. But moving on. We had, this thing in my Animon group where, like, I tried to retcon something that didn't go over super hot. It was really embarrassing. And... my group was fine with... Well, all of the not problem actors were fine with it. The 2 problem actors that I had were not okay with it because they felt like it's, like, not okay to do that. And the only reason I call them problem actors is because they were also sort of backseating me a bit because they figured new GM, they need guidance. I think their heart was in the right place, but in hindsight, that's not a good way to teach people. So, after we had... that thing, like, not go over super hot, and I was kind of just in the middle of getting Hollow into the game at this point too. I'm like, now's a good time to join because we're kind of in the middle of something. We're gonna start it over. It's a bit of a mess, but I think I finally fixed the issues. And then Hollow makes a character and joins is going to join the next game, and then like an off-game call where I just try to talk to someone else about how I feel and what I feel like is being ignored in my games. That person doesn't let me talk because he wants to be really autistic about, like, some shit about French wars. Wait, am I missing a boat? I'm missing a boat. Alright.
Well, I mean, at least it's a
Yeah, so
At least it's not like, at least it's not World War II, right? Or ancient Rome.
he's the kind of person who thinks that Brexit was justified because they can shoot at French people for fishing in their waters now. In hindsight, maybe that should have been a signal. Like,
The fuck? It's just Gabe again?
no. Do you think I talked to Gabe? This guy's British.
Anyway,
Oh.
Yeah, so anyway, moving off that topic.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Brits. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so after that, his friend, like, I say something in chat about it. I'm like, he wouldn't let me talk about it. His friend jumps down my throat about it and says the only reason that they were even in this long was because they felt sorry for me. Damn, okay. So, after that bridge is burned, and my group falls apart completely because we're down too many players, I'm like, can we just ice this until, like, January or something, and then come back to it? And I'm like...
So the idea was to ice it until I came
Wait
back
for
to
you.
the shit I was dealing with.
Wait for you, yeah. It's like, let's just wait till Drake comes back. Then I'll have enough people to run. And in the meantime, I got more involved in the Sonic server. I didn't have enough people who were really interested in playing in a Sonic system in my own group. Hollow was. At that point, I'm like, just join the Sonic server. I'll run your tutorial game. His was the first game I ever ran as a tutorial game. I ran a couple before that, just to kind of get a feel for how to GM on the system, but it sort of became a thing of like, hey, this server has a problem. There's only one guy GMing in it. He runs all the tutorial games, there's a bunch of new people. He's also really late on running his own campaign that a lot of people have been waiting to play in. What can I do about this? I can fill a niche here. Because my instinct is to try to help people whenever I see that I can do something for them. And because my own group had fallen apart and I really didn't have a sense of place anymore, I figured I would try to provide for a community I actually liked. And the thing that actually will hopefully make you smile about this entire horrible situation is that I found at least some of the things that one person used to give me in an entire community of people instead. A community has replaced those things, and that feels way healthier.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's full of degenerate furries.
I wouldn't say full.
Sorry, it's just half of them. And KK's there. Is that too mean? Is that too mean?
I mean, given that this is a public stream, yes.
Never mind. It was just a... Damn it. It was just a ribbing. It's fine. I didn't mean it like that. Now I feel bad. Moving on,
I've
then.
said worse in public streams.
Yeah, but I don't want to be terrible anymore. I actually don't. I'm tired of shitty communities that made me things that I don't want to be. And now I'm the things that I want to be, and I'm happy. I'm like, I've got problems to solve with my life, but the problems to solve with my life feel pragmatic and easy to quantify compared to what I was dealing with for years.
I definitely feel like the you I see now is much better than the you that I was dealing with way back then.
Yeah, sorry about that. But thank you for putting up with me.
Hey, as much as everyone here knows you as a doormat, I'm my own kind of doormat. I'm not the type of person who drops anybody unless they decide to drop me.
It's funny people see me as a doormat because a lot of older people see me as a firecracker that got mad at a hair trigger. And all
I mean, both can be the same.
I mean, you can be both.
Can you?
Yes, you can be a doormat for some things and snap at a trigger for everything else. I mean, you should know. You've talked to me about it. I'm not getting into that because of the stream, but, you know, there's cases I can see where you are just a doormat and one where you do indeed snap.
And let's face it, sometimes you just have so much pent up that you're dealing with at one point that you don't understand exactly where to direct it, so it's like you're a doormat for certain situations, and then really you let loose when you feel you either have no choice but to, or you feel comfortable doing so.
That's definitely true. I am thinking about it a lot. I guess because I also have questions about who I am. But they don't feel difficult to answer, they just feel like they're taking me a bit to figure out. If that makes any sense. But like, I do prefer streaming and talking about retro games, so I hope no one minds if I switch the topic a bit. Anyone got a random thing they want to say about an old game they used to play?
Why don't you hit me up with another certified Spyro fun fact?
Well, I exhausted the Pete one. You exhausted the Copeland one.
Is it bad? I know more about Spyro from like the degenerate community than I know about it from the actual games.
Nah, that's about right.
Actually, here's something I remember that you could show people. So I remember you mentioned that they fixed this, quote unquote, in the remake. Why don't you show us that little hop you can do? Correct jumps.
Oh,
That
yeah.
you couldn't do in the remake because they equalized the controls.
Right. So, when you, so in Spyro 2, you have a hover. In Spyro 1, hitting triangle just does this, it makes you drop. But in Spyro 2, you hover instead. Spyro 1 had no way to correct drops. When you press square in Spyro 2, it just makes you do a straight nosedive, similar to pressing triangle. But in this game, you actually charge a little bit forward. It gives you a boost, so that you can actually make jumps that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to hit. And because it's such a quick thing, it preserves more of your height than it would otherwise. It's a thing. If you time it badly, you're gonna die because there's no way to get out of that. Like Spyro in Spyro 2 will start, like you can execute a glide from a charge after a bit, but in the first game, if you're charging, it's actually a lot harder to do that. Like, for example, if I get really low here, and I think I'm not going to make it, well, that's a bad example, because everyone's going to make that jump. But, like, you'll see me do it sometimes. But Reignited has no way to correct a bad jump. Because it has, like, this air hop you'll do when you get close to something, but only in the first game. And it does it automatically, which means it does it when it feels like it. And that's kind of a problem. The other problem is that in Reignited, the supercharge is way floatier. Like, the physics for it are strange. They feel like something that the engine's not meant to do. And because of that, it's difficult to control in the first game in a way that makes treetops a lot harder. But in the third game, because the third game has so many geometry issues, it's actually kind of broken. You will slow to a crawl at a section of... what's that ice stage called in the second world? There's a supercharged thing there. I think it's real neat, but in Reignited, there's a place where you'll slow to a crawl just by going along the track normally. And that's without mentioning the other collision issues. The famous one in Reignited Spyro 3 is the skateboarding level in Lost Fleet, where you have to race those guys on a jetboard. There is a piece of collision, a piece of geometry there, where the collision box stretches a fucking mile outside of the model, and you'll just die there at random, and you won't be able to even do anything about it. It's so stupid. I've asked the modding community if there's ever going to be a fix, and their answer is probably not, because this part is hard-coded for some reason. They made the whole fucking game in blueprints, but their physics are locked to 30 frames per second because I guess the game is made for children, and the actual collision detection isn't handled by... Okay, in fairness, that is a thing that happens in this game. And I knew where it was, and I ran into it anyway. I'm going to try to talk about that real quick, too, because this game has that. It has a little bump here, and if you don't hug the wall correctly, you'll actually hit that. However, that's the only place that happens in that I know of. If it happens anywhere else, it's because I never ran into it. But I know that's there and just ran into it anyway. It is a good demonstration, though, because this game is pretty old. And I will say that in terms of the original games, 2 and 3 actually did get a lot more smooth about how supercharging was handled. Where 2 ditched the ramps for it, which may have been a mistake, but I suppose I understood where they were going for it. And 3 kind of refined it by putting it along tracks in places. So, I give the first game a pass for having a little jank, but Reignited having that same jank in way more places bothers me. And it bothers me because in this game's case, it's because the engine's custom made on an old piece of hardware, but in Reignited's case, it's because it was made 20 years after the fact. And at that point, it's like, what are you doing? You're treading old ground and somehow missing and somehow failing. Sushi? I gotta get a napkin real quick because I dropped something. There we go. Just keep my desk from becoming an absolute degenerate cesspit. It's only a little degenerate. What levels am I missing? Oh, I guess I'll do it. Let's go do that real quick. You know, I'm not making bad time. I did say that these can take me roughly 5-ish hours. However, stuff and things. I've also got fancy here because I definitely make good choices with my life.
Always.
Yeah, I will say that at least Reignited does have some cosmetic mods that are fun. Being able to play as an Enfield is neat. But the first games... What other facts do I know about old games? If I ever stream Tomba again, which I might if I can ever rope people into co-streaming, because that's kind of the only way I'd ever do it again at this point. Unless I gotta draw. I'm probably always gonna stream art at some point just so I can prove I'm not an AI artist. I have to now. My art looks like AI art. I've been accused of it, and now I'm afraid. So now I have to start streaming it again. I don't really want to, because I don't really enjoy it. I don't even like streaming it in Discord calls. But yeah, when I play games like Tomba, I can talk a lot about those too, because there's a lot of interesting history in old PlayStation games. Actually, I have a friend who played, he's the reason why the hacking scene for Tomba got blown wide open. He's one of the OG people on it, and the current people who are doing the decomp project for the first game, as well as making some modding tools for it, they actually cite his work a lot. He's got that under his belt. It's pretty cool. And he's excited for it too, because he's glad people have taken up the torch on it. Taken up the torch, picking it. I know how words work. It's fine, English is just my first language.
It's not how things work.
You know, I'm actually...
Yeah.
So, outside of because my first online game was an MMO, I don't even know if this is a good question to ask. I'm just curious, like, what everyone's first MMO was. I mean, I kind of answered the question already, though. But I'm asking for everyone else because I'm curious.
Definitely the same as yours, honestly. RuneScape. I remember playing that stuff.
I'm gonna
way
die
back
here. I hate this
in,
place.
way back in elementary school when we had access to the computers. I actually named one. You're gonna cringe at my screen name for it. It was Latios862.
Ha ha!
Does Neopets count?
Yeah,
No, well, yeah, I
kinda.
Neopets?
Yeah.
Is it Neopets isn't MMO?
Well, it's an
So the
online. It's kind
So-
of.
It's either Neopets or Kingdom of Loathing.
But
What's a
yeah,
kingdom of Loathing?
the sad part is I was young enough. I got fucking tricked by a hacker, and they ended up taking my account when it was like over level 90.
Yeah.
Kingdom of Loathing is another online game where you, they're very comedic. If you've seen the games West of Loathing or Shadows over Loathing, those made by the same people.
I know West of Loathing, but I didn't know Shadow over Loathing.
It's
Shadow
like a
of-
more recent one. Came out like
Yeah,
last year or something. Or
Yeah,
like,
it's like the sequel, and it's more Cthulhu-ish kind of versus West of Loathing, which is more Western. But it's set in the same. It has the same aesthetic, so it's stick figures and a lot of comedy and whatnot. There was also
Thank you for releasing me.
it wasn't the first one, but there was also Urban Dead, which was another online game that had a lot of people playing, and you alternated between being a human and a zombie as you wandered around a city to scavenge for supplies or eat survivors, one of the two.
I didn't realize how old that was.
We're talking about old stuff, yeah.
I guess. Yeah, Neopets counts. I mean,
And the community.
it had a community, and you could do stuff with each other, I guess. Because, I would say my second online game is Sparcadia, and I don't think anyone's going to say that's an MMO either. And I don't.
I think my first MMO would have been just a random mud that I do not know the name of.
Fair enough. I guess MMO means something specific. I suppose I should have said online, community-driven game. That wasn't.
I'd say muds are MMOs.
Yeah.
MMO
I mean,
specifically
if you're not
stands-
counting muds, then yeah.
MMO specifically stands for massive multi-online player.
Yeah, I guess I mean games where you can play with a community and not just a bunch of randos and matchmaking. Which I guess I'm curious about that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, yeah, the muds count as that, and if you're not counting muds, then yeah, it'll either be RuneScape or Club Penguin.
Yeah, that's fair. You started with Club
Something off
Penguin.
Miniclip.
I really feel like. So the reason I ask is because I feel like our early online experiences kind of still shape who we are a bit.
My earliest online experiences were the AOL chat rooms, like the actual kid and teen hangouts.
Oh, my mother wouldn't let me go anywhere near those. She's like, you stay the hell out of chat rooms, and I'm like, why? And she's like, because there's a bunch of strangers in them, and I don't want you talking to strangers on the internet, especially where I can't see you. Fair enough, actually. Probably was a good decision. I benefited from having a parent that's very, online savvy. Which is a good and bad thing, because she also just let me get away with a lot. She's like, don't do anything that'll get our internet taken away, and you can do whatever you want. She's like, here's how you pirate stuff.
Like how she says, don't do anything that'll get our internet taken away, and then does it up pirate stuff.
Well, yeah, don't get caught.
Yeah, don't pirate the Dallas Buyers Club, and you're fine.
Yeah, she's like, don't go to these sites. My mom is like, don't do anything that'll get you hurt. Which is don't get pedophiles your info or something. And don't do anything, if you're gonna do something illegal, downloading stuff you shouldn't know, just don't get caught. And that was the rule.
I had so many unhappy middle-aged women talk to me about their divorce My god.
In RuneScape?
No, this one was on fucking like EverQuest or something.
Oh!
One of those like old ones, maybe Guild Wars 1. I don't know. I played a lot of the ones where it was like single purchase.
Fair enough. Okay, so what... In that vein, actually, here's a good one. What is an online experience that sticks with you? To this day, I don't care what it is, as long as it's like a thing that you feel comfortable sharing on a platform that will have an archive of this.
Yeah, some of the stuff is just, some of my experiences with that type of thing, I'd rather keep, off archives, just...
That is fair.
stuck with the most.
We are all old. Like, all of us have been on that version of the internet, so this question is a bit loaded.
But let's just say I've learned that parents and children can have interesting relationships in what they talk with each other.
Hi. I could usually tell my mom things.
Oh no, my mom's the same. My mother is the exact same. Like, everything you will know about me, Shroom, my mother knows about.
Yeah, same with mine. Like
we actively speak about each other's adult life in the house. There's a reason that my partners literally live with us, and how my ex lives with us with her boyfriend.
my mom is militantly asexual, and she accepts things about me, which is appreciated. But like, the only issue, like the issues that I had growing up were never issues of like, I don't think there were ever trust issues. Like, I was usually afraid that I was gonna get like a beat down when I went home and got suspended again or something. But that's a different issue. If I needed help with something, I went to my mother before a lot of other people, because my mother would either be honest with me, which means I get no bullshit answers, or she would actually have a solution to a problem, whereas most people just had sympathy. I didn't want sympathy, I wanted help. So, like, I had at least that going for me. I don't think a lot of people have that. But, like, I guess to give one of mine, an early online experience that I remember, which isn't a pleasant one, but it is one I took things away from, is that putting your art on the internet means you're going to get criticized for it whether you like it or not. And this is ultimately a good thing, because I do think that, like, being exposed to just how bad people can be is a helpful way to know how to deal with those people. The healthy way to deal with those people is either to ignore them, or if they actually say something you think is true, you ask yourself if you think that's... You ask yourself why you think that's true, and if it's actually a problem. And if the answer is yes, it doesn't matter if it came from a shitty source, but coming from a shitty source makes it harder to listen to. And a person who's pointing it out to you in a shitty way is also probably just being a shitty person. So, like, at that point it's a them problem, but, like, I guess my takeaway from it is if someone's really shitty on the internet to me, because this happened to me a lot in Furcadia, when I got older, and kind of, I still do this now, it's like, I'll ask someone I trust, hey, is this thing real? Like, is this a thing that I really do? You can be honest with me, I'm mostly just asking if only the rude people will point it out to me. Because if it's just the rude people that have an issue with it, or if it's just one person, then it's a them problem. But, like, I don't think there's any real way to learn how to deal with that kind of negativity except to be exposed to it. I don't really know a better way, because there's, like, I'm not going to be that way to people myself, because I don't like to be that way. But I do think that there wasn't a better way for me to learn how to deal with it, except to, like, actually have to deal with it. And now I have a thicker skin than most people do, which is pretty funny because I'm also really sensitive.
Yeah, I do think that when we first met, that was definitely extremely confusing for me.
Yeah, it's... I don't really like to be the like, oh, well, suffering builds character people. Suffering builds trauma that we learn how to deal with over time, but I don't think being jaded is necessarily a character thing. at the same time, learning how to deal with people and having coping strategies is important for real life. And ideally, we learn how to deal with things one at a time, or two at a time. The internet makes you deal with it 100-fold at once. I can smell the Cool Ranch sunflower seeds from here.
Nah, I wish.
Didn't have them?
Nope, not this time.
That's unfortunate. I actually tried to find those. And I could not. I guess they don't sell them around here.
I love Cool Ranch. I love those things. I love anything ranch, though. Anything, especially Cool Ranch.
Yeah. So I've got a good lesson I learned early on in the internet days. So I used to play Left 4 Dead 2 online a lot, and it was like one of those chill survival servers. And it was a German server, which was don't know why I played on a German server. I just did.
Oh no.
I think I just joined when a friend was playing it, and I just still stuck around because they were chill. And yeah, people of like all nationalities would join. We'd get like just random Russians. They'd talk. They'd know like 3 words in English. They were pretty chill. Obviously there was a lot of Germans there, a lot of like Australians and people from New Zealand. Because like one of the admins was like New Zealand or something, so all of his friends played there too, and everybody was chill except for Yanks whenever they joined. They'd always, I just thought they were just like a aggressive, you know. Like it was just like a chill server where you just like build. It was like a build server, but in Left 4 Dead 2.
You could build in Left 4 Dead?
You could on modded servers.
That's cool, actually. I'd have liked that. You say that all of the Americans had no chill. Honestly, I would have been the American with chill, but zombies and guns and stuff scared me.
Well, the thing is, like, when someone had chill, everyone's like, that this person is cool with it. They're hip with the times.
And when they didn't, you just assumed they were
they
American.
must be a European. Yeah. But whenever someone joined with like a fucking Yankee yeehaw southern drawl. Yeah.
Oh.
And, so I learned early on that most Americans I did not get along with. It's a very important thing to learn in the internet.
Oh, I have an important lesson that I learned kind of, not really early on, actually more recently, with the internet in general.
Yeah?
Like, when people are talking about groups of people that have certain stereotypes or actually act that way, say, the classic one is all men are pigs, or shit like that.
These.
It's a shitty mentality, but just because you are the exception to the rule does not mean that you need to announce that thing. Like, I'm talking about like a lot of personal things, like so I enjoy certain servers where certain very sensitive kinds of people like to be around. And because I enjoy helping those kind of sensitive people. And they end up saying how a lot of people in those communities that are in my position end up coming into those communities and being creeps. And it's like, well, I'm not, but I've learned that when they're talking about this, if I feel like they're talking about me, then that's a me problem.
Oh, if they were talking about you, they would never say it. Like, because I know what you're talking about. And if I tell somebody that, usually I come in here and people are like that, I usually feel safe enough around that person that I can say that. Because if I know what you're talking about, and I'm going to be honest, it's not the kind of thing you say to someone you don't feel safe around. Because it can go bad real quick for you.
Yeah.
And also if someone is a creep, they will also say, I'm not a creep.
and like they'll get creepier usually because
And
priests
to
don't
be
have any
honest,
self-awareness.
That right there is probably the biggest thing I've had to actually learn is the mentality of don't say you're not this because then people will start to think you are.
Well, it's less that and more like showing them that you're not like this. If someone's accusing you, it's absolutely okay to say, I try not to be that way. You can say that in your own defense. If someone says that to you, like to share, they kind of already trust you a little bit, and the best thing you can do for them is to actually just continue to be the person you are, because the person you are is trustworthy.
That actually brings me to a conversation I had just like, what was it, yesterday, day before. Someone brought up how religious trauma they were having because they're transgender, and
Ouch.
their family's highly Christian and saying that they'll go to hell because of their being transgender. And I pointed out, first of all, I've read the Bible front to back. When I was where I had to be, that I don't like saying exactly where it is, but
It's
Shroom
fine.
knows where I'm talking about.
You don't have to announce your own business.
I read the Bible cover to cover. It made me not want to be a Christian.
Yeah, that's how I got out of it too.
But it also made me realize that there are a lot of things that people talk about, like preachers and priests will talk about, that are nowhere in the actual Bible itself. Like, hell is not actually a thing in the physical Bible.
Yeah, I think that was a thing that was later?
Yeah, and also like there isn't anything remotely related to like being trans in there. It, unless you're talking about Deuteronomy, but that also has nothing to do with it. That is just from people fucking fucking desperately word searching, trying to find anything related.
I-
And if someone brings it up, tell them to shut the fuck
Hey,
up.
You
because
guys
that's
want
Old Testament
you guys
shit.
want to see a fun Easter egg?
I was gonna say,
Unfortunately,
like,
I
if you
cannot
could-
see it at this time, so.
I was about to say, like, anyway, back to the video game.
But
Whee!
Oh yeah, I remember accidentally doing that.
So
that
I
was
feel like
cool.
that's supposed to be hurt. Like that's supposed to hurt you.
That's
It
supposed to
is.
kill you because of water, or else it's liquid.
a
in some
fun
way.
little thing in the remake of this area was actually changed to a floor that has purple lights on the bottom of it.
Yeah, because reference.
They changed it, but instead of just making the floor deadly, they actually referenced the old thing. I think that's actually kind of neat. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made my comment trying to calm them down, trying to empathize, and then I made the comment I just made to you guys about it. About how there's nothing in the Bible about transgenderism or anything like that, and about it being wrong. And they jumped down my throat and started saying that I was bad-mouthing their religion, and
At that point, disengage.
Yeah, bro.
I eventually, like, because it wasn't just that person, it was then someone anonymously, because this was an event channel, so there was the anonymous event bot, anonymously chimed in saying I had done this twice now, and these two people were saying they wanted to get me kicked.
I would just.
I was lucky that I had been interacting with a mod while I was in there. Well, I still am in there. And the mod looked back at this chat and was like, yikes, yeah, no, this is the person that actually needs to go.
The anonymous person or the
Both, but they focused more on the actual person who started the shit.
That's unfortunate.
Because the person who started the shit was the one with the one who actually said that I needed to get kicked for it, and was actually saying that basically was doing a lot of shit just for attention.
Yeah. That sucks. Hey, GB, you got an experience you remember? I don't mean to go over Drake's thing, but it was a lot.
No, I'm good.
You got one. You got one that you think of that like sticks with you. Funny and awkward is also acceptable if you can't think of anything deep. Getting my shit pushed in by a turtle.
Nothing compared to that.
Getting my shit pushed in by a turtle, or?
Nothing compared to Drake.
Oh.
Well, I can't really think of anything too remarkable that I'd share in public.
That's fair.
I can go with funny if you want.
Funny and awkward are acceptable.
Okay, so this one, set the stage. This was a Gmod server.
Oh, we're already in good territory.
Yeah, so this is Gmod,
territory.
so I think when the story happens it would have been, like, 15? So, there is an IRL meetup being organized. And, I was going to go to it. Well, I did go to it. And, fuck, I don't remember what I did. I was currently banned on the server for I got like banned for like 2 weeks for something I said on the website, like right before it shows up. So I ended up showing up to this IRL meetup, and I was banned from it. So I didn't actually like get the context for what happened until afterward. So one of the people who showed up had a couple like adults show up because they thought this guy was a so they like a couple of people like, oh, we don't know about this guy, so we're gonna show up just to make sure he doesn't try to leave with anybody. So I was there completely oblivious to the whole thing. They were talking about it in the like mod section, in the admin section, which I was a part of at the time.
No, but you were
like, when I
banned.
got yeah, so I was banned, so I didn't see any of this.
Wait, but you were an admin.
Yeah, I was banned.
But you were an admin.
Yeah, well, I was a mod.
Okay, you
I
were
was
a mod and you were banned.
I was banned by an admin. That's a different part of the story. That's a different story.
Okay.
That's a different story. That's just a different story.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I show up. I was banned. This guy ended up. Turns out he was that thing. They got proof later on. And They did the good thing and actually reported this guy to the cops. So fucking good on them for that. But when I got unbanned, I saw them talking about this stuff in the mod section. I'm like, nobody fucking like messaged me on, like, no one messaged me to like say, hey, watch out for this guy. They were just like, no, we're just showing up, and we're just gonna beat the shit out of him if he tries to if he does anything.
Oh, fun fact: this thing right here is just the only chest like this in the game. The only one that contains a 1-pointer. There actually aren't any others.
Fancy.
And now it's gone. Oh well. So damn.
So, unfortunately, that guy did have rich parents, so he ended up getting a slap on the wrist.
I really feel like I asked the worst kind of question. I mean, we've got my answer, which feels tame by comparison. We've got Sue and Drake's answer, and we've got GB censored for general chat. Oops.
I mean, I could give tamer answers. I could get.
Well, you answered the question. That's fine. It's just I'm like, oh,
I ruminate. I get stuck in rumination a lot about the past,
It's-
especially about.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
I'm trying to do it less lately.
I do have professional advice that has actually made Twitter a usable website for me, and that is make extensive use of the blocked words feature.
What is it? Block words?
Don't block people, block words, block phrases.
I just don't use Twitter.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
if you can do that, do that. But
Yeah.
I follow a lot of like indie devs and like authors and shit.
I do miss following indie devs, but I'm not really going to unlock my Twitter.
I miss following like Markiplier and all my gamer fucking. Oh, did you know that Markiplier's brother actually has a does a webcomic?
I do now.
Oh, yeah, this is yeah, go ahead.
A furry webcomic, actually. His brother's a furry.
Yeah.
He's the dude buying two kinds.
Yep.
Wait, I know that webcomic.
Yep. Markiplier's brother is the guy behind it.
That's a furry comic? Half the characters are human.
Two kinds.keenspot you're talking about, right?
Like, yeah, there are humans in that comic. Also,
Right,
Yeah,
it's
but
still
there's
it's still a majority comic.
so are they actually furries, or is it just like
No, they are actually furries.
cats? Like, are those the
They-
only species?
They're
No, there's
tigers, baskins
dogs,
are
too.
a furry
Greyhounds,
race
too.
that they don't have a direct animal correlation to them, but they are a furry creature. Yeah, and those are technically the three main races, and then you've got the scalies, you've got the dragons.
Fair.
Oh, and then Miss Nibs. We cannot forget about Miss Nibs. The squirrel that we still don't know what the fuck she actually is.
Ah, yes, the
Whoa.
JRPG trope of this species is nowhere else in the game. And it probably runs a shop.
No. She's just the group's mascot half the time.
Yeah, behold, it's what I need to make the website usable. There's like another page of them.
Wow. I can't look at it, but I'm going to assume that it's big. Anyone can take that sentence out of context as much as they like.
I was about to say, are you sure you want to say it? Say
Phrasing, boom.
So it's a bunch of lists of U.S. states. Fahrenheit, Democrat, Republican.
Hang on, why Fahrenheit? You don't like the book?
No. I'm willing to let the Fahrenheit 451 take astray. I only want people to be talking about Celsius.
Oh. Right, you hate Americans, I forgot.
No. I don't like them.
I feel like you're just around the wrong yanks.
There's a difference. It's like I can like Americans, but I don't like Americans. You know?
I mean, neither do we, it's fine.
Yeah. And a bunch of like metaverse shit. Vizzy-pop. I do have to say, I like Vizzy-pop. I don't like anybody who talks about Vizzy-pop.
Oh, I love Vivzy Pop's work.
I kind of feel it's not.
Well, yeah. So it's set up that if someone I follow talks about it, I still see the tweet. So I follow Vizzy-pop, so I'll see her tweets. I don't want to see it's like I also blocked Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't want to hear anybody talk about it. I don't want to hear about Assassin's Creed ever again.
Oh,
you know?
you don't want to hear about how having a black samurai isn't historically accurate?
Yeah, no, I
Even though
don't.
It actually is.
Also,
It actually is extremely accurate.
No, we know.
yeah.
We know. Wait a minute. What am I missing? Did I forget the chest?
But no.
See, I was about to post it like a deep cut, but I don't actually know if anyone would get the reference.
I did. I forgot the chest.
So, I've got a quick question. If anyone here's actually watches Vivzy Pop's work, what characters could you see yourself as?
That's a question for the rest of you. I'm not really a fan of her work. You can answer the question, though.
I'm curious why.
I don't like Western animation. I don't like, and I don't really like the. How do I explain this? I don't like the furry art style. I like stuff that looks really anime or that looks like Sonic characters. I'm not really a fan of the.
You're like Holo when it's like, oh, that art style just is ick to me.
It's ick is the wrong word. It's just not my thing. I struggle to explain it. But it's just a preference. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anything bad about the person, so I have no comments on her. Her work exists to me.
There was controversy when she was first switching from her personal group to the actual voice actors and actresses that are on the work now, at least for Has-Been Hotel.
Oh, right, she does that.
Well,
Did
yeah.
she do
it's
Volcano
just
High?
because
Was that her?
It just became a union gig, so they all had to be in the union, and
What do you mean by did she do Volcano High?
What, the art for it? Was she the one who did that? I don't actually know. I know her from shorts and animations mostly. I just forgot about the Has-Been thing. But I discovered her through random. I discovered her through a random music video, and then she just did a bunch of small stuff.
Oh yeah, the fucking Kesha one.
Yes.
That's the one. That's
Which
how
is
I know
actually
her.
why Kesha actually shows up in Has-Been Hotel.
Yeah, I know her.
Yeah, and
from
it's
that.
I don't. It's just a really funny story about how long that episode got delayed and why. I mean, well, it's not a funny story, but you know what I mean by funny. Absurd.
Yeah.
I guess.
Things can be funny and still be messed up. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Yeah, fucked up
hey.
that just someone just owned Kesha.
Yeah. So the story there is that Kesha wanted to do. They wanted to give her the song that Vizzy got popular with. I forget what the name of the song was. Doesn't really matter. And they were doing it, they were animating it, and
Die young.
Oh, Die Young.
and they were animating it, and everything was all going good. And then the record company said, "No, don't be silly, no." So they had to.
Don't be silly. You don't own that.
So they tried to negotiate with it, which ended up causing more delays, and then they couldn't do that, so they had to come up with something brand new. And I think Keisha might have helped with the song that ended up being used.
God, you love records.
It's like
you love
it's
record
like
labels.
uncredited because the fucking that one guy just owns anything she does.
Ew.
So she wasn't allowed to sing the song she wrote. Song she didn't write. Big air quotes.
Ew.
Anything she sings, he owned. Owned. Past tense. Thank God.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Crazy you could just get like a fucking like a 15, 16-year-old just
Do you see what I
sign her-
did? Do you see what I did?
I did.
Yeah,
That is a
long life.
use. That's the hop. That's it. You can't do that and reignite it. You have to hope the game just does it for you. I was about to miss that jump.
But I always say that I would definitely be Husker. Like Husker's like my favorite character, at least when it comes to personality-wise.
Is
When
that
it
the gambling guy?
Yes.
Okay.
The bisexual gambling guy
Yeah, okay.
who's got a thing for Angel.
I mean, Keith David.
And actually hates cats. That's part why he's turned into a cat.
Alright, so everyone else can
can't-
answer.
I can't say mine publicly.
Damn!
Wait, why?
Why? You can't say why either, can you?
No, because of the implications.
Ah.
And also on
I have
on
no
the blocked
context.
words, make it make sense because I've never seen a good tweet end in that.
I think he's fucking around. Man.
Oh yeah, and sigh with a full stop after it.
Oh wait, that's how you start apology videos. Oh hey.
I mean, it'll also block transcripts of apology videos, so hell yeah.
It'll block transcripts of apology videos?
I mean, if someone posts one of them to Twitter, yeah.
Okay, so wait, full stop's a period, right? So
Yeah. So if you have a muted word, it's like,
so why not 3 full stops? 3 periods. Ellipses.
well, because I think it's like all inclusive, but it will be like anything after that. So if
okay.
like sigh full stop will be like, if someone just puts sigh and then as a full sentence, it'll block that. But it'll also block people who put ellipses. I should just block an ellipsis as well. I don't care for them.
I love people who put an ellipsis after everything because they want to sound really serious.
Yeah.
Where am I missing
An
gems?
ellipsis after every sentence, because I really want everyone to know that I'm taking my time with this sentence. I'm thinking long and hard about this.
Ma'am,
Ellipsis. I'm trying to think of what that.
3 periods.
is.
3 periods.
Yeah, 3 periods.
You ever see some, like,
Oh.
people on the internet do it to kind of denote that they're trailing off a bit? Because tone is
Yeah,
difficult
yeah,
to convey,
I
so
do it,
you...
especially in roleplay aspects when it's a stutter. Or
Yeah. Like, it's fine. Like, there's fine. You can use an ellipsis as a way to denote that you are trying to have a pause between things. When people do it all the time, then it just
Yeah.
makes them sound like they want their words to have weight to them without actually earning it by saying something that's not fucking stupid. And I can think of some people I know that do that right now, but I'm not going to say who they are.
Oh God, really, Google? I cannot believe that Google just fucking did that.
Oh, what did Google do?
It's the Gulf of America.
Bruh.
Oh, Hollow got back to me. Says he doesn't have the best net right now.
But
That's-
it's the Gulf of America. Google Earth fucking changed it.
Ew. I missed half that sentence, I'm sorry. I got pinged on Discord and I didn't know if it was important. I worry a lot about when people send me messages. How did that hit me?
Yeah, Gulf of Mexico in brackets, Gulf of America. Bruh.
Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I caught that now.
Okay. Well, luckily, I do have a new thing to add to my list of blocked words. Sometimes someone just puts together like a configuration of words of the English language. You're like, never heard that before.
Okay, is
By
Skibbity on
Jove, I never will.
is Skibbity on the list?
It's actually not.
Would you put it on the list?
No.
Based.
I think maybe I might have to when it hits the like
Oh, when,
age where like Gen Alpha.
oh, when the normies
like-
get holds of it?
Well, no, just when like iPad babies are like at the age where they're starting to use the actual like internet.
You
Oh.
realize they're already there, right?
No, he's talking about like
Wh-
when the new generation won't let it go. He doesn't want to deal with
Or
6-year-olds saying
Gen
it.
Beta, I guess.
I don't know what generation we're on.
Or when the iPad babies are like posting on Twitter, or alternatively when the Gen Zs are getting all millennial-y about it.
Ah, hey now. You
Hey,
calling
now.
you calling us boomers? Like, I'm fighting words. I know where you live.
No. I'm saying when the Gen Zs act like millennials do now. You know when they get all like back in my day.
Back in my day, we skibbitied in our toilets.
Yeah.
Would you
Like
mind,
complaining about whatever
going
the
access to the server when you get a second?
Oh, when I... Huh? What? Sorry?
Would you mind giving Hollow access to the server?
I did.
Okay.
It's in his
I-
DMs. He can join when he wants.
No, as in
In the
Oh,
quarantine.
oh,
out of quarantine.
right. Okay.
And remember to make sure he doesn't.
He
see
doesn't.
The room.
Like, honestly, it's fine. He doesn't. I changed it.
I'm glad I don't have. I'm glad you took that away. I didn't want to see that room.
I just want this role to have admin. Okay.
I wanted to be. I actually wanted to be able to be in that room, but
It's.
I also don't like upsetting people, especially if they're on the Shire side.
We'll play web fishing later. If they're around, we'll play web fishing later. It'll warm them up to you a bit. They just need to know that they can trust you, because the piece of them that they put in there is extremely vulnerable.
I feel like I'm still too new. I wouldn't want to step on their toes with that. Wouldn't want to make them feel like they couldn't be themselves.
Honestly, because of how I have learned to vet people, anyone who's in this server now are people I know are not going to be shitty. So, it'll be a thing.
I'm here too.
And Sue is here too. So, like, I know that the people in here I can trust. Look, if you're going to keep saying it... Oh, wow, there's a skybox glitch up there. By the way, there's a way to get out of bounds in this level. If you just keep mashing against a wall, you can do it. Funny thing, if you go out of bounds and you hit a kill screen that's outside in these stages, you lose a life every time you do it, and it won't tell you you're losing lives. But you don't you don't lose a life if you hit the water, just if you hit the kill planes. Weird. Okay. So, odd question. I kind of already know Drake's answer to this one. What's something that you're kind of... Oh, I get to do Haunted Towers now? What's something that you're actually kind of like... You don't understand? Like, you're not necessarily negative on, but is there a video game franchise that you don't get the appeal of?
Sonic.
You know what? That's
That's not even a shitpost answer.
No.
I've played a lot of Sonic games. I just don't get it.
Actually, which ones did you play? I'm kind of curious.
1, 2, CD, some random one on the PC.
Probably Sonic R.
Yeah, probably Sonic R. Adventure 2. Unleashed. Mania. Colors. The skateboarding one.
Riders.
I played a lot of Sonic games,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, maybe this is the one where I like it. No.
That's fair. Nah, that's fair. Go.
What one do you think I would actually say? Because now I'm curious.
I actually just didn't think that you would ever want to shit talk something.
You're not wrong.
That's why I rephrased it immediately. I'm like, don't say something negative on, just something they don't get the appeal of. Because I am actually curious.
What's the question?
What is
What video
something?
games do you not like?
No, what is something that you don't get the appeal of? Like, it doesn't have to be something you're really negative on. It can be, but just something you don't understand why other people like it.
Does it have to be a video game? Because I can give a couple of non-video game answers to that.
Video game is it's topic relevant, but
All right. No, fair.
like, if you're really struggling,
Sports games.
that's fair.
Sports
Yeah, actually,
games.
I'm with him with this one. Yeah, I don't get
not
it either.
get the appeal of the same games over and over and over and over. Like, maybe updated stats or updated players or updated whatever, but...
How do you feel about
it's
The Sims,
still-
then?
What?
How do you feel about The Sims, then?
I love The Sims, actually. But that's because I'm into colony and resource management type of games, world building. I actually used it to design my one character's actual house. I went into The Sims and made a layout for a house.
Oh
for
yeah, I
a
remember that.
character.
It's for character in a different thing. It's not for RNRS, although probably could
Yeah,
do it
no.
there too. So Sonic and sports games seem to be.
Oh, I'll say. I'll also say. It's something that I understand what people like about them, but I don't get it myself. That's like map painters. I've just got a different brand of autism.
Map painters? Like.
You know, like Victoria and.
Oh! Why are they called map Like, I know. Well.
Because the map, and you paint it your color by taking everything.
That
Oh, I know
sounds
what
so
you're
reductive.
Oh, I know the ones you're talking about, like Planet Side.
Like.
Oh, well, I was specifically mean like Victoria or like Hearts of Iron.
I think he means like.
That's a specific type of
What was that?
4X game.
What was that?
Sorry.
Which is like,
It's talking about grand strategy.
yeah.
I was about to say. I can't remember the one that
I didn't
you,
want to say the
like-
wrong word because I don't remember
Stellaris.
the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the difference between like 4X and grand strategy and map painters.
I don't know what the difference is either, but I also don't play them because I am way too
Grand
stupid for
strategy
them.
is just more complicated.
Yeah.
I assume that the appeal is managing a bunch of moving parts at once that interact in very strange ways if you don't.
Kinda, yeah.
It's fair enough. I think I sort of understand it, but it's also not my kind of autism.
Yeah. And the like same thing falls under like colony sims.
I actually kind of do like Colony Sims.
I love Colony Sims. Like, one of my favorite that I play on a near constant basis is RimWorld. But I also don't get the. I don't know why, but part of me doesn't get the appeal, and part of me understands it completely. Of any game that you have the ability to do anything in, and similar to The Sims, similar to RimWorld, you choose to be the most horrible sort of person.
I don't get that either, but I also don't know that many people who do. I've heard people say that having the option makes their choice not to feel more valid. But, like, I guess...
I'm more talking about the people who actively go down that road.
Yeah, I think those people should be kept away from pets. Like, if I'm gonna make a judgment call about any way people engage with fiction, it's if somebody derives enjoyment from causing suffering to anything that looks like it's in pain, I'm going to be slightly worried about how they interact with actual animals.
You see, I would disagree with that because a lot of people, and this is where I understand it completely, there are a lot of people that use those kind of games in order to any darker tendencies or darker urges they have, because they can just be urges, like say a boss has pissed you off that much at work, and you just want to see his character in The Sims drown.
I can only think of this. So, I don't watch this show because it's way too much for me, but my mother used to watch Black Mirror. There is an episode about that. The thing that I came into the living room on her was someone who made facsimiles so perfect of his coworkers that he hated, and eventually, because they were very intelligent, they gained sentience. When they tried to push back about being their own people, he took away one of their faces and then gave it back as a way to scare her. And honestly, that made me sick.
Yeah.
I don't know why my mother watches stuff like that.
Okay, so here's a perfect example. So I have my Dungeons and Dragons campaign and how that campaign can be.
I know that it's a little bit more complicated.
It's, well, one of the players there, she loves animals. She would never let anything ever come to harm an animal, even in the games. Unless that animal absolutely gave her no choice. But when it comes to humans and human likes and humanoids, on the other hand...
Ah, misanthropy, we love it here.
Yeah, she's very willing to torture and tear apart the humanoids.
We love misanthropy in my house. It's like every time someone's like, humans, however, there it is. Uh, man, I actually have that issue with a lot of furries being like, a lot of it's not, like, it's not a lot of furries. I don't think it, or at least I don't think it's most, but there's definitely a subset of the fandom that is deeply misanthropic. I feel like it's, and I don't like this about the fandom, because misanthropy is inherently self-hating, and it always starts with self-hate. By the way, that jump is fucking impossible on Reignited unless you get lucky.
Hers is, she uses it as a way to deal with a lot of her own personal, and she's already talked to me about it. She actually considers me a close friend, which, when she told me this, shocked the shit out of me because of how many arguments her and I had gotten into.
That's why you're friends. Because she knows she can talk to you and you'll tell her how you feel, which probably makes you one of the most trustworthy people in her life if she has issues with other people.
Like, she actively has told me now a lot of times she'll almost sleep through campaign unless somebody calls her to make sure she wakes up. She does not allow a lot of us to do that, actually. She has a short list of 3 people. I am one of those 3 people. Actually, now it's down to 2 people. Because one of those people ended up being a fucking dickwad to her and ended up ruining her trust. But
Ouch.
now it's down to 2 people. Well, at our table, we have a rule. You don't look at another person's Dungeons and Dragons sheet, your character sheet.
Why?
It's a matter of, at least for like her and even me at times, it's a matter of, I should say, unless invited to or requested.
Weird, but alright, keep going.
Matter of privacy, matter of, because we see our characters as extensions of ourselves.
It's also just kind of rude to, like, look over at someone's character sheet, like, what are you checking for? Do you think I'm cheating? Like, it's table trust. Having
Right,
said...
you're talking about physical stuff, right? I guess that makes sense.
Well, we're talking about, like, this is on, D&D Beyond as well.
Okay. I was like imagining how you're gonna like take a sneak a peek at someone's character sheet online. I'm like,
I mean, that's
like-
easy to do if you're on Roll20 or Foundry, because it literally is just a...
Or
Click
D&D.
away.
oh yeah.
I
Or
used to...
D&D Beyond, if you share the same, if you share the DM's room and that's where you created your character sheet's right there unless you put it to private.
I
Like I
actually...
said, I don't get it, but continue on.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's how he ended up ruining her trust, and she just ended up, like, me and the DM are the only 2 who can call her without her actively showing some form of annoyance.
She seems very sensitive.
I don't think I could deal with someone like that, to be honest.
It's
I'm
more-
sure she's very nice, but I don't think we'd get along.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if you and Lunar would get along.
I think I would probably just end up straight up telling her that I struggle to walk on eggshells, and it's not that I don't want
Oh,
to.
that's the thing. It's not walking on eggshells. It's not actually walking on eggshells. It is more very specific things that just are a avoidance. Like, it's not like you have to avoid like specific, like avoid talking about something or anything like that. It's more just don't look into what she sees as private unless she offers it to you. And
As long as I know where that stuff is, I guess.
she's very, that's the other thing, is it's also a table rule by the DM, because the DM doesn't want everybody, like, if he has some plans for a certain player that he doesn't want to reveal to the whole table.
Yeah. So
And to be fair, this guy was new to the table, and as was it GB that spoke up regarding that?
Yes.
Yeah.
As you just said, it's kind of weird for some people not to look at other people's character sheets.
I mean, it's good for people to be able to share items and take each other's money and Also, you know, if there's no easy way to,
Good for new
I
players.
I don't know if Beyond does it, but I know that Roll20
How much
and
health someone's on.
Foundry don't make it easy to see exact health values unless you actually look at the sheets or have appropriate mods installed.
Well, that's where it's
There's also,
more
like,
a
it's to help.
communication at the table type ordeal.
It's like it's easier to help new players if you can just check their sheets if they're actually struggling. It can also be
Oh,
a
yeah.
thing of like, because people when I run games, I don't care if you look at each other's sheets because like I run narrative games or I run a game in a narrative style. So it's like we're here to tell a story. I don't give a fuck about metagaming and I don't give a fuck about min maxing because
Okay, Revan.
we don't because that's not the table I want. When Revan says, when Revan says that though, that's not the table he wants. He doesn't want a table that cares about that to begin with. So he doesn't care about that to begin with because as a GM, you foster your table the same way that we get the communities we foster. Revan's correct when he says that. When he says he doesn't care, it's because if people are cheating at the game, well, they're not ruining the game he wants to play. They're ruining the game they think they're playing.
But you didn't agree with Revan.
I didn't agree with Revan. Now I do, because I've actually played in this game and heard him explain it. I actually have come around on a lot of the things that he says after we talked. I was wrong about a lot of the stuff I thought at first. And I'm glad that he talked to me about it.
Well, I'll know where you stand when the Civil War happens.
When the Civil
Oh,
War
yeah,
happens,
like,
when the Civil War happens, I'm going to be a third party and everyone will side with me because I'm the best damn GM in the server. What are you going to do about it?
Ouch!
Holy shit! There's 3 GMs now. That's so many.
mean, do you
Well,
want
2.5.
do you want the fun public answer, or do you want the honest private answer?
Give me both. I want both. Give me the fun public one first.
Well, the fun one is that I'll just throw you out of the server.
I mean, you can try, make a martyr out of me. How did I survive that?
But yeah, look, like I totally understand with the keeping the character sheets private, especially if it's like communicated, like that's what it is. Because like right now, the current session I'm in, we're doing a Stars Without Numbers, and it is an extremely like backstab heavy campaign.
What was the fun answer?
And so yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So you absolutely nobody's looking at other character sheets because everybody is backstabbing each other in multiple different ways.
Sorry. What was the honest answer in private though? Or do you want to keep it in private?
I keep it in private.
And,
Don't want to hurt your feelings or anything.
and on another
I mean,
aspect,
I'm just fucking around, like. But I do
on a-
I do think that I'm
You'll get there.
like I do actually think that after I understood what he wanted, I do actually think I know how to run his system better. Is all I wanted to say. Like I think it's actually helped me let go of some things, and it's helped me also figure out what kind of groups I want. Like I'm fucking around, okay?
I mean, fair enough.
If I actually cause defense, I'm gonna actually cry.
So,
I'm just fucking around, okay? I swear. I don't.
it's fine.
I'm trying to think of how to.
But you regale us with another Spyro the Dragon fun fact.
I gotta warn people about that. That's an F word for me.
Fun fact?
Especially when I give a fuck about people. That word is an F word.
What? Fuck?
Fine.
Oh, one thing you learned about me is that when I say it's fine, it's actually fine.
I'm just so used to fine.
People saying it's fine and they're actually seething with rage.
Oh no, I totally get it.
Seething with rage, depressed, anything behind the scenes, and then it's like I start to overanalyze and be like, are they actually fine? What does it actually mean? Come on, tell me what you actually fucking mean.
I mean, I talked to Shrooms about it, and she knows that I can be blunt. So,
I think his answer is something like, I am pretty decent at GMing this system. I have a lot of issues when GMing in general, which is true.
Yeah, like, I know she's at least partially being a haha funny bullshit when she says that she's the best GM in the server.
Yeah,
That's no problem there.
I'm good. I'm decent at it. I still fuck up at it. I have things I'm doing
just
better
say-
at. I'm doing better
just
all the
wanted to-
time.
Yeah, the whole. I'm gonna just clear the wave here because I don't want to dwell on this too long because this is the stream for that. That it was just gonna be like well, I mean, you are pretty good, but what about this, this, and this? Which I think she would agree that she has because you just said she has some problems still.
I remember what live and learn is.
So
I know what that does. I forgot what that does again, actually.
See, there you go. Exactly.
Live and learn. That's when you
Gotta believe.
fail. You fail at. If you fail your role, you're able to try to change what it is, gain experience, and re-roll. If memory serves.
Yeah.
Half right, actually.
You can turn the role into a success, but in exchange you have to give the GM a boss aspect to improve the
Oh
boss.
yeah, the boss aspect part was what I forgot, and you still get experience for it.
No.
No?
You also don't gain momentum for giving a boss aspect on live and learn.
Yes.
Okay.
I remembered it in the end. Give me head pets.
Yes, you do.
All the
Yay.
head pets, especially since
It's the kind of thing. It's the kind of thing where she goes, "I'm the best GM in the server," and then she gets pats the head and say, "Yes, you are." Keep thinking that.
Yes.
Little.
I mean, I did pretty well for only being in 3 sessions.
Yeah.
And feeling like I had to explain more than half of someone's tutorial session.
It wasn't mine. It wasn't anything I.
It was
No,
the last...
you know who it is.
I know.
We're not gonna say names, but we know who it is.
Ah.
You know who it is.
Oh, God, I forgot.
Yeah. The one that you had me give my own opinions on.
Right.
Yeah, I had to prompt in order to have them explain things to the new person.
Thankfully, the new person came away from that with a positive experience, because I went and I asked them about it too. So they had a great time. I asked them in a subtle way.
I'm actually really happy about that because I felt like I was... Oh, the situation that ended up happening story-wise between my character and I forgot who else it was. I cannot think of for the life of me who else it was.
You don't have to say.
You don't have to remember it because
I know.
We anonymize people anyway. Anyway,
I know.
so.
But the other
yep, I'm done.
character that was the traumatized character
Ah.
with the family situation where her whole family was dead.
I think I know who that is, actually. But anyway, so,
but-
back to the question I asked a long time ago, and it
Sorry.
kind of got way out of it. GB, what's the thing that you don't understand the appeal of? And don't say humans, you're not allowed.
I mean, my answer is almost virtually the same as, what's her fucking name? Scroll down to look at the name list again. Sue.
I'm assuming me, right?
Yes.
Sue.
Mine's similar to his in a different way, and that's I understand the appeal of why someone would be into a lot of things, well, into the things that they're into, even though I am also not. But I just take that to mean that this question isn't actually applicable to me because I get the appeal of a lot of the things that I see. They're just not for me.
And that's where it's like
That's fair,
I
I guess.
get the like I was just saying I get the appeal of it, but at the same time I don't like.
Yeah.
Like I can get the appeal of sports games because people can have their favorite teams and their favorite players, and the games that let you make your own teams with players. It's cool to make an all-star team of your favorite people because the only reason you buy sports is because you're into sports. So like you buy the latest release to get the updated rosters, and you assemble your teams of the people you like, and then you have them win, and it's cool. So I get it. It's not for me, but I get it.
You see, the only sports ones that I understand, funny enough, are WWE and MMA. Because they're essentially,
Is WWE the
they're
one where you can throw a chair at someone's head?
Yes.
Nice.
That's one thing you can do, yes. But, because there's essentially like Mortal Kombat and arcade fighting games with extra steps.
Yeah, they're basically fighting games in a way, yes.
I'm struggling to think of something.
So I get the appeal of those games. It's more Madden, baseball, and football. Not Madden is football. Madden, baseball, FIFA, and MLB.
I
Those
just
are
don't
the ones-
understand baseball at all.
That's okay, neither does anyone else.
I understand baseball completely.
I'm just making a joke. We used to have this baseball game on the PlayStation. You could enter a cheat code and then you could actually play as little toys in a living room. And if you hit the ball out of the park and you hit the PlayStation, the announcer would be like, "How is he gonna play the game now?"
There was a baseball game for the PlayStation that a neighbor gave me because he was selling his, and one of the places you could play was on the moon. And it had the
Yeah.
it had the appropriate physics too. So if you hit the ball real hard, guess what? It's basically an automatic home run because that's not coming down.
I feel like I've actually seen that.
You just reminded me of the Toy Story 2 tie-in video game.
The one that everyone praises, I think that one is like famous. Oh, you know what? Speaking of sports games, you know, there was actually one that I really liked, if this counts. I think it does. It was the Tony Hawk games.
Yeah, those count.
Oh, Pro Skaters, yeah.
Yeah, like, I was thinking of Underground 2. Like, there's... I don't remember if these are unlocks or cheats. You can just skate in hell at a point, and if you die in hell, the devil says, "You suck."
No, that's in the main game. That's in the New Orleans level, I think.
Oh, can you? You can just go to hell in Why in New Orleans?
Because
I think
so-
it's New Orleans. It's like the voodoo
that actually
voodoo
makes
level.
a lot of sense with the
Oh,
whole,
is that because that's where Mardi Gras happens?
Mardi Gras, Creole, voodoo, and yeah.
Wait, the voodoo thing seems racist. I'm not gonna think about it too much.
Yeah, let me just real quickly Google what year Tony Hawk's Underground 2 came out. Yeah, it's probably that because it's racist. It came out in 2004.
I love looking at the year's video games.
It's not really considered, at least nowadays, very racist that I've seen, at least on the internet. It tends to be more because it is such a featured thing about New Orleans in general. I mean, hell, fucking Disney of all people decided to use it for their main villain in I can think of
Quick note about
Princess and the Frog.
how annoying this specific level can be. I have to beat the end of it in order to unlock the next one in order.
Sounds alright.
So, it's not like the others where I can just hit exit level. I have to go all the way back there now.
I'm going to disconnect and reconnect to see if I can watch your stream after that, okay?
Oh, yeah. I guess you missed a lot. I'm sorry. Alright, I'm missing 30 gems. Where the hell am I missing? I'm good at this game. I'm actually struggling to think of stuff that I don't get the appeal of, because I sort of get the appeal of everything. I say I don't get the appeal of Mario when a million better platformers exist, but like, if you like that specific feel, then yeah, I guess.
On top of the idea that Mario is one of the first platformers.
Yeah, but being first doesn't make you the best.
It makes you nostalgic, and people live off of nostalgia.
It's unfortunate. I don't get the appeal of nostalgia either, I guess. See, that's the one thing, I guess, that I could say that I cannot relate to. I don't get the appeal of nostalgia. Even though I play a lot of older games, there's also games that I do actually kind of have, like, memories of that I grew up with, I'll never touch again because they're just not very good. And, like, Lego Island 2 is one of those games. It's like, do I have fond memories of it? Yes. Do I wish that I liked it more? Sure, but it's a bad game.
Honestly, I'm with you when it comes to that. When it comes to nostalgia, it's very... It's a triple-edged sword. I'd have to say. My brother is he looks back at the past way too fondly, I feel, and ends up being very much a stuck in the past type of person.
I just can't be that way.
But when it comes to it goes to a lot of video games, honestly, in my opinion. There's a lot of, and movies too. Like, I enjoy a movie or a video game for what it is in the moment. Meanwhile, there's so many people who are like, well, that's not how the franchise is supposed to be. I mean, I get it for people who like continuity, but then they'll go into, X game or X show or X movie was better.
I mean, people are allowed to have their opinions about stuff. I just don't really understand.
No, you're not
yeah,
wrong.
I just don't understand I don't understand what is important to people about nostalgia. I understand continuity perfectly well. I get mad as fuck at Sonic for having basically none until Ian Flynn came along and has to basically retcon the whole series to make it work now. My issue is more that, like, it's mostly Nintendo fans that do this. I'm gonna be honest. Like, they want everything to be the same to the point that, like, any shakeup at all is just sort of unwelcome, and I just don't get that. Like, I thought it was a corporate thing for a long time, like playing it safe, but a lot of Nintendo fans genuinely get really upset if there's something about their game that changes, like, at all, and...
You see, I know your opinion on Pokemon, but that ends up being like wanting your cake and eating it too. All these Pokemon fans that do want the past to be the past, but then look at the new games and are like, well, this is shit.
Well, my issue with Pokemon is more that there were problems that I had with the old games, and I don't feel like any of the new ones address those problems. Like, yeah, I'm mad that I can't have the Pokemon I like, but honestly, that issue wouldn't even exist for me if they just felt like the newer designs had cohesive art style with the old ones to begin with, because then I would actually find guys that I liked. But I also have issues with the way that Pokemon has... I don't like the company aspect, the corporate things of like, well, we always need to have exclusive event-only Pokemon that you can't get again because we need to make, like, forced scarcity in our game so we can stress parents into dragging kids into Toys R Us and get that sweet tie-in money. And it's like...
and this is where this is the part I do understand the concept of that in a lore standpoint, is that if everybody could easily get a mythical Pokemon, then how would that really make it a mythical?
Well, yeah, but the idea is that narratively it's rare, but I don't think that it should be rare in a meta sense either, because I think that people should be able to relatively have the same experience when they play a video game, to, like, insofar as they should receive the game and be able to play through the same content that everyone else did, even if they're playing through it under a different context. And having something be rare in a meta sense, to me, adds nothing to its narrative rarity.
They've actually pivoted away from that, especially in more recent times. Now the event-only Pokemon have become more, well, first of all, easier to get to because you don't actually have to go anywhere. You just have to access Mystery Gift at the right time.
Well, also, now they just make paid DLC, and they
Yeah,
make those
that was the
Pokemon
other-
busted in comp. Like
And then as for the whole not being, well, I forgot, what were your favorite Pokemon?
like Shroomish, Altaria. Like Altaria is actually my favorite Pokemon.
You do realize that you do get them in the more recent.
I know
games,
you
right?
do. I know you do. It's just that like when it comes to games, it's like I wish I could find new ones I liked easier. But a lot of why I don't like them is because on Gen 6 and onward, they kind of pivoted the art style.
Yeah. Yeah,
I got
can
one more
see
level to
that.
do. So
can-
I don't want to meander too much on a topic since I only got one more level. And I want to find a burning question. I don't know. Does anyone have anything they want to input about video games, especially old ones?
No, not really. No,
That's
not
fair.
really, because I mean, how many times have I been here for these?
That's
Many,
fair.
many times.
Yeah, since the 2019 when I started doing it on stream, because I always play this game on my birthday, but I started to stream it when I became a streamer, and then it became a way to have video archive. The honest truth is
I don't
that
think I was here for last year's one though.
no.
I don't remember when I left.
Before that, I was upset because I'm like, damn, like. Oh, hey Goose. Goose is awake. I guess she's going to work. She just dropped in to say hi.
Oh, in the Twitch chat.
Yeah, they're in the Twitch chat. I've been watching it. Yeah, she goes by Goose or Emmy now, by the way. The old username she doesn't like people to use because she just kind of associates it with a life that's no longer hers.
Okay.
If it's someone I know,
It's not. You just met them today. It's
Okay.
someone Sue knew from back then. Don't work on Tuesdays when I'm tired. Play web fishing with me later. The mods will take you like 5 minutes to set up. Anyway, time to do Nasty Booty, which was this level's name in the beta. Man, I actually do have questions I would ask you people, but I can't ask them in a public format.
I mean, once the stream's over, I'm still sticking around unless you're exhausted.
Nah, GB will probably go to bed, or he'll probably go talk to some other people in a different server, but I'll still be
No,
here.
it's late enough. That's once I'm out of here and I'm sleeping.
Want to stick around and play web fishing for a bit after stream?
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna set up web fishing that fast.
It's actually pretty fast. GB, tell him how fast it is. Tell him how good at setting up mods I am. Tell him how good I am at it.
You just want the
Oh,
validation.
you asked that really desperately. I don't know if I should say.
You just
I don't
want the
think there's a sentence I've heard in the last month that terrifies me more than modded web fishing.
Yeah, especially after what I saw.
Yeah.
Hey
It's
now! It's just a fishing game. It's just a
Especially
fishing
after
game.
what I saw.
It's just a
Oh my
fishing
God.
game. Nobody on stream think anything of it. I do like how the Steam community complains about how, oh, you just have to stay away from those communities. And I'm like, that sounds like an endorsement.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, I guess if I had a closing note, one of the things that I'm figuring out is that a lot of the things that I was taught to hate over the years, either directly through people I interacted with or passively through my environment and my attitude about things, have started to fade away enough that I actually kind of wonder. I have questions like, does being a furry amount to being a delusional idiot, or is it actually a thing that gives you a connection to people that can be genuinely meaningful and doesn't require you to engage too much with fantasy?
I mean, the answer to that's obvious.
I have actively met people in their 20s who are just getting into the furry fandom who tell me quite adamantly that they enjoy it because the furry community is one of the more open communities. With or without the degenerates, it's very like welcoming to all sorts of people.
Well, the one I remember was, but maybe I just hang out in the wrong places now. I suppose that's one thing. Like, if anything, being in a Sonic server, that's, I don't know who the new person is. I don't remember. Sorry. It doesn't say you're a first-time chatter. If you've been in here before, then I'm sorry. I haven't streamed in, like, nearly a year. Be nice to me. My memory's bad.
Head pat, it's okay. It's
Did
part
you
where I
change-
like trying to talk to you so often.
Oh,
Make sure you remember me.
oh, no. Talking to people in chat.
I know.
2022. Yeah, so here's the introspection I have since being in a server full of degenerate Sonic fans. Is that those people also act like adults. Like, yeah, sometimes like me and Spell and Atma act like retarded teenagers with sex jokes and call, and sometimes like me and KK will get in a stupid argument, or sometimes TC will say some shit in chat and it'll be like,
It's for anonymizing.
no, these people I all like. I'm just naming people who I like a lot in the community or consider friends. Like, I find value in the things we do, even when it's stupid. However, all of those people are also adults. I have real conversations with KK. I have, like, actual heart-to-hearts with Atma and Spell. I think I respect TC's opinions on things because when he actually talks for real, he talks from a good place. Like, I like talking to you at night because you have a lot of thoughts on things, and the way that you make a succinct observation of the things that I say helps me organize my extremely jumbled mess of, like, pseudo-philosophical bullshit. So, like, and, like, I don't think everyone in that list is a furry, but they are furry adjacent, or in Atma's case, a weeb. And, like, I appreciate all the people I know. I appreciate playing in Revan's games every Thursday, and, like, the dumb fucking shit we do where our campaign has become an anime. Like, it's just a comedy anime at this point. Nora puts something in her boobs, and I'm never letting that go. And walked out the door with it. She just walks out the door with it. Okay, that's fine. The dice said she could do it. But then, like, we'll have talks about game design that actually feel so interesting. The whole group does. And, like, y'all think Revan is crazy, but Revan has a lot of really interesting insight about games. Like, well, I say y'all, you don't think Revan's crazy. A couple of other people I won't name think Revan is crazy. But, like, I actually appreciate his insight about stuff. I think that having this many people in this small community just, like, they actually have my respect. They have lived real lives. They have real opinions, real thoughts. They're real people. They are wholly their own people. They aren't using the furry thing to sub a personality. They're not using it in a toxic way. But it still matters to them because it connects them to a community, and it gives them a kind of, like, representation and aesthetic that they like. There are a couple of people who I think might not have a healthy relationship with it, but that's, like, a couple of people out of a whole community that I've become a very big part of, and I'm very happy. So it's led me to ask real questions about what I like and who I like being.
Spyro the Dragon, you've defeated Ganasty Gnorc, collected the dragon eggs, saved
That's a
the
lot.
dragons, and recovered every bit of treasure in the Dragon Kingdom. How do you feel?
I feel fired up.
Is it too much?
You just 100%ed that game, didn't you?
I certainly wouldn't want to the rest of my dragon
I think so. Why?
with nasty Nork and his weird
Just-
minions.
I hadn't seen that before.
Never mind.
Oh, really?
You know what they say.
Yeah.
Say that she does when she plays it every year, doesn't she 100% it all the time?
Actually, I
In spite of his misguided nature, he wasn't worth
play it more than once a
Okay.
year.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We go again.
I'm gonna check my inventory to make sure. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I was just around people for such a long time that kind of just had arrested development.
Yeah, good show.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hate to love you and leave you, but I'm hopping off.
Yeah, it is late.
It's well, it's only 9 for me, but it is what, like 6 in the morning, 5
About
in the morning, 6 in the morning.
5:47 for me. It's about 5 a.m.
Yep.
for GB. It's about probably
Jeez.
6 for Drake.
We're at the same time zone.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm
Oh.
EST.
You
He's
forget
CST.
I'm literally just north of you. I could pop down there and say hi if we actually communicated that.
You'll have to tell me ahead of time because if my mother sees a strange guy at the door, her first thought is, "Oh fuck, serial killer."
That's why I said communicated that. And besides, I don't know where you actively live.
Well, I don't
and
live.
I'm not going
I
to
don't
get
live
down-
near the Mothman statue.
And I'm not going to request those type of details.
Oh, hey, since this is my stream and I can say what I
Especially now
want.
while it's still streaming.
Since this is
Anyway,
my
I'm
stream,
off
goodbye.
later.
Bye.
I was gonna tell him some cryptid shit. Hey, you wanna know some funny shit about the Mothman statue? Somebody,
Yeah.
apparently there's people who put dollar signs in its ass, or they put dollars in its ass sometimes. Like they'll put quarters between its ass cheeks. Like,
I've seen pictures of
there's a
that.
picture of someone putting $5 in there, and then the subreddit's like, damn, someone paid $5 for cake. Somebody also drew a tramp stamp on the other side of it.
I mean, hey, the statue's paying for itself at this point.
Fun story from that campaign I mentioned that I'm in every Thursday is that we had a Christmas episode in that campaign where the other two players turned into Chow. Well, my player who's in the limo, like doing the stuff or things, because she's the group's Bentley if you play Sly Cooper. So the fun story here is that I told that story to the group before game. So Mothman's ass cheeks were just on the mind. And then out of nowhere, because they're playing Chow and doing a stealth segment, because ass cheeks are on the brain, I quote the Metal Gear Solid meme. You know the one. Let's check my inventory.
Yeah.
It's 120%.
Colonel one.
Yeah,
You did
Colonel! I'm trying to sneak around, but the clap on my ass cheeks keep alerting the guards because I'm dummy thick. And like, I quoted that in the thing, and because Saki is Saki, he knew what I meant immediately. And then out of nowhere, I'm like, I wonder what caked up Chow ass would actually be like. So then,
Oh my god.
caked up Chow ass became a thing. So then, at random, Saki's just like, Chow, 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 ass cheek, chow, chow, chow. And now it's become a fucking meme every time somebody wants to make me laugh. It's like, chow, 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 ass cheek, chow, chow, chow.
Oh my god. I'm surprised they haven't made a soundbite of that.
What is Mothman if not a very tall Chow? Shut up, Goose. Go home. You're drunk. Now people are in chat. To be fair, I did do this at like the worst possible streaming an hour.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Surprised you did it in the morning and not like.
Because I have to outrun a snowstorm. It's hitting us at like 10 o'clock.
No, that's true.
Like, or 11, around then. And then it's like, I don't know if our power will go out, but the internet might. We're at least going to have spotty internet, which means I might not be able to meet game later. Which I already told you that in chat.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. To wrap this up briefly, so that we can go do censored for general chat things, I guess. I mean, I don't actually know. I think people are going to go to bed. Stuff! I don't know. Anybody have closing thoughts?
Yeah, chow chow chow.
Ass cheat.
Good game is good.
I do like that trope of like you have different cute language, but then everyone just says the swears all the same. It's like that fucking South Park meme. Balls. That's when all the future people came to the task. Anyway. I do this once a year, and I like doing it for some reason. But I'm happy that other people did it with me this time, because I don't think I've had other people to do this with me in years. It's been mostly me for the past 3. And let's say the one in 2023 was a bit sad. I did actually, since Sue is gone, I can mention this. I went back and watched that one, because I had it hidden on my channel for a long time. And something that I noticed about it is that the reason I hid it was because what I remember is at a point in Lofty Castle, I talked about the situation that lost me a friend. And I had hid that video because what I remember in that was I said something along the lines of, after a while all we had were arguments. The thing that I remember at that point is actually crying. And doing it really hard and actually kind of breaking. And I hid that because I didn't want people to see me actually crying on stream. But I went back and watched that exact point after not being able to handle it for a bit. And I didn't actually cry. It didn't come through stream. But I know that's what was happening. And until I was laughing at some stupid thing like, oh fuck you game, it wasn't even apparent. I never realized how much I hid my emotions before that point.
How much do you think you still hide them?
I think I try to hide them less, or at the very least, I do still hide them, but I try to remind myself that if I want people to know how I feel, I have to talk to them. There's no real substitute for it, and I can't hope somebody notices. That video is unhidden now, so if anyone wants to see that, it's fine, since the one from last year, and definitely this one, is a lot better. But I think the archive is important. It is important to me, at least. Maybe it's not important to anyone else, and I don't think anyone is ever going to, in the future, go back and watch these, but I might.
But that's kind of the whole point, is that
Yeah.
this archive in and of itself is not meant for anyone except for you in its own way.
Yeah.
This is a way for you to...
It's always kind of been a way where I always make the videos I want to. I always did that even when I wanted to stream as a career. I always made the content I thought I'd be happy with. And that means I don't regret doing it. I'd probably stream again if anyone ever wants to co-stream and like listen to me talk about Tomba, because I would absolutely stream Tomba. However, I will at least say that I do actually like running games a lot more. I don't know if I really want to do this like regularly anymore. I don't really feel like I have to, as long as I have a community of people that I can be in and feel safe in and get the things I want, which I do. So I found the thing that I was looking for like many, many years. And that's cool. It feels like it was something.
Now if only the world around us would catch up to how you feel.
Man, people need to stop having a crash out and voting for a tangerine every time it happens. Not going. No, no, no. We almost got through the thing. Anyway. Yeah, that's probably a good one to end on. Didn't have a turnout this time, but I also did this in midnight.
Yeah.
And hey, you had a couple friends. It's not like you.
Yeah,
like
it was
you were-
nice. It was nice to talk to people. It was nice to talk about video games and other stuff. And it's nice to put my heart on stream. At least a little bit of it. The parts of it I think are good to show.
And to not always feel like you have to hide the rest.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll do this again next year. Don't know if I'll have the same group of people, but I sure hope they're still in my life.
I'll definitely be, as long... Like I said, it's hard to get rid of me. You gotta physically kick me out for me to leave.
GB, how hard is it to get rid of you?
Pretty hard.
Yay! Okay, everybody say goodbye.
Bye bye.
Adios.